the strongest internet cafe in Marvel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 051. Of course, good luck. Since there is only one player currently registered, Stark is the only one who can play the game mode. As for matchmaking and rank modes, certain conditions need to be met to turn on points. Soon Stark entered the hero selection interface. The Barbarian King, the Banished Blade, Irelia and so on. Of course, other 3 heroes who are forever free: Rune Mage, Ice Archer, and the Power of Demacia. Looking at so many heroes to choose from, Stark was actually at a loss, because for him, these heroes were very strange. Boss, which hero is more powerful? Stark, who had been entangled for a long time, finally looked at Su Yang for help. After thinking for a while, Su Yang said, choose the Ice Shooter. If you choose her, the game experience may be better. Su Yang thought that the Ice Shooter is also a long-range hero, and it is not too difficult to operate, so he recommended it. Ice Shooter? Stark quickly chooses a hero, but then he is a little dazed, because he is at a loss again in the summoner skill column. He can only slowly watch the effects of various skills, and finally, due to the time limit, he still uses the standard configuration given by the system when his skills are not finished, and the healing technique is equipped with ghost speed. Fortunately, the system takes into account your gaming experience, so the human machine mode automatically matches 4 computer teammates. However, after these 4 computer teammates were matched, the corners of Su Yang's mouth twitched. It's actually these 4 heroes. Stark's game experience should not be better. Su Yang looked at the computer and matched that his teammates and opponents were actually these 4 heroes, but the opponent had one more: Prince Demacia as the 5th hero. Barbarian, Zinai, Sword Saint and Great Sword Gallon, 4 heroic combinations who have pitted countless elementary schools. It seems that this game is clearly about fighting all the time, which is a game experience for Stark, who is playing this game for the first time. The screen turns again, and you enter the interface where the game loads. Hey, it's just a simple computer that looks down on me too much. Stark looked at the simple word sign behind the hero, chosen by the computer, who has been mixed with high technology for many years, and has also developed advanced artificial intelligence such as Jarvis, which is too insulting. Mr. Stark the Iron Man, don't be careless. Su Yang looked at Stark, who was a little unconvinced, and said, you'll understand later. Seeing that the progress was 100%, everyone held their breath. Stark was nervous, and his heart was full of expectation. Soon after, when the picture changed again, a deep female voice sounded. Welcome to Summoner Canyon. The deep voice sounded without warning, and when Stark reacted, he found that he had arrived in a completely unfamiliar place. The waterfall falls from the sky along the gaps in the stone wall. The magnificent summoning crystal towers, and the 2 front tooth towers reflect the dazzling light. Summoner Canyon. Stark looked around with a curious eye. Having already experienced 2 games and 1 novel, he quickly regained his composure. It seems that I have entered a different game world again. However, the world seems to be much more interesting. Knock knock knock. Stark, who was carefully observing his surroundings, suddenly heard noises coming from around him. Then he found that 4 pillars of light appeared around, and after a second, the pillars of light disappeared, and 4 strong men appeared. King of the Barbarians Timida Deben Chief Zaozin Wuji Sword Saint Master Yi the Power of Demacia Gallon. Stark looked at his teammates. He tried to come forward to say hello, but his teammates were all computer controlled, so no one paid attention to him. At this moment, Su Yang's voice sounded. Mr. Stark, since this game of League of Legends is different from the other 2 games, in order to improve your game experience, when you need to attack, you only need to control your hero to make corresponding actions, and your attack will automatically move to the object you want to attack. By the way, if you actively attack enemy heroes, you will absorb the hatred value of the minions around you. When you kill with 0 health, you will automatically respawn in the spring, and the game will continue until the large crystal on your side or enemy is broken. Well, then, Mr. Stark, good luck. Although Su Yang had explained in detail and mentioned several points that newcomers were prone to make mistakes, Stark was still at a loss. The enemy only has 30 seconds to reach the battlefield. Before Stark could figure out the meaning of Su Yang's words, the deep voice just now sounded again. Alas, it seems that I can only follow them to understand the situation first. Just when Stark was helpless, the mana machine in the spring water had already begun to move. Zaozin and the Barbarian King went to the upper road, while Master Yi went to the middle road, and Galen went to the lower road like an auxiliary. Looking at this familiar scene, Su Yang thought with emotion, alas, I don't know when the Absorbed Saint of Zhongshan will reappear. After Stark thought a little, he chose to follow Galen down the road. Not far from the heights, a familiar voice sounded again. The whole army attacked. I saw a few melee soldiers leading a few long-range soldiers in the lead, and set off from the high ground in an orderly manner. This should be the monster of this game. Stark guessed, if this is a competitive game, the strength of the two troops should be the same at the beginning, so I only need to kill the opposite minions to upgrade and become stronger. Stark followed the minions and approached the descent while thinking about the whole game. Sure enough, Stark noticed that from the opposite side there were also a few soldiers who were exactly the same as their side. Just now Boss Su said that attacking enemy heroes will attract the hatred of minions. So as long as you stand behind our minions and then don't attack enemy heroes, it should be safe. Stark thought, slowly approaching the place where the minions were fighting. But before he could start attacking, 5 figures suddenly appeared in the grass on the side. Demasha. What sound? Stark, who had just walked to the edge of the grass, heard a shout in his ear. Before Stark, who could hear the voice, reacted. Bang bang bang. A bunch of skills smashed directly on Stark's face, and Stark's blood volume instantly bottomed out. First blood. Kneel for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floors. Thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 052. First blood. The sound of the blood resounded throughout the Summoner Canyon. Stark only felt that his eyes were dark, and when he came back to his senses again, he found that he had been resurrected in the spring water. Eileen. What a situation. Why are there 5 people who will meow him down the road? Stark is going crazy. With a pop, Su Yang, who had completely witnessed this scene outside, couldn't help but laugh. Haha, I'll just say that his game experience will be poor. However, Su Yang really did not expect that the system would actually come up with an ancient routine, a level 1, 5-person squatting grass routine, such a big gift as a meeting gift to Stark Point, so he really didn't mean to laugh. He really couldn't recognize it, because in his previous world, it was impossible for anyone to be killed by this routine point, because everyone will not use their faces to probe the grass at the first level, especially the existence of Galen, who is also known as the grass on the opposite side. I depend. Laotzu doesn't believe it. Stark quickly regrouped and came down again. But this time Stark learned to be obedient. He was not in a hurry to go online to mend the knife, but slowly approached the grass where he had just died. Enough distance. This time, he first put a free eye on his body into the grass and confirmed that there was no one inside, and then he stepped forward confidently and boldly to mend the knife, but something he didn't expect at all happened. Since Stark chose the red square when he started the man machine, there was a triangular grass that could be wrapped around his back from behind him. Sure enough, just as Stark was groping for the mending technique, he found that the 2 big men Galen and Zaozin actually wrapped around his back from the triangular grass, then start sprinting towards him from behind. Eileen. The first time he saw the enemy, Stark actually wanted to run, but his computer teammate shouted, Demasha, and he rushed up. Yes, 2v2, I'm afraid of hair. With this thought, Stark followed Galen and rushed forward. However, when the 2 sides were fighting, Stark noticed that another person had come from the triangular grass. Stark saw that the situation was wrong and wanted to leave Galen behind, but when he turned his head, he found 2 more heroes coming from the direction of the river. Eileen, what a situation. Why is it all down the road again? Stark desperately found himself surrounded by 5 people on the other side. Sure enough, in less than 10 seconds, Stark once again pounced on the street. This encounter of being killed as soon as he arrived on the line made him feel the fear of being dominated. Even Stark didn't expect that he would be teased by artificial intelligence one day. Su Yang felt that after Stark went back, maybe Jarvis was going to suffer. However, Stark is worthy of being tempered by the road to survival and death, and even such a game experience has not defeated him. In this way, Stark has been torn between resurrection and death, and his most current gaming experience may be rushing. Bang. Finally, due to Stark's existence, the 4 computers on their side could not beat the 5 computers on the opposite side, and in the end, Stark's red square crystal was burst by the simple computer. Boss Su Yang, did you deliberately pit me? Stark leaned haggardly on the seat, his eyes were dull, and he looked at Su Yang with an unlovable look on his face and said, the scene of being surrounded and killed by 5 people many times almost made him have a shadow in his heart about this game. The dignified Iron Man, the maker of Jarvis, will one day be destroyed by artificial intelligence. It's hard to accept. Look, I remind you to be careful. You still don't believe me. After Su Yang finished speaking, he looked around and said, however, if you can't even beat the mana machine, I advise you to give up playing this game, otherwise it will be too humiliating. Boss, you also look down on people too much. As a veteran internet addict, Barney expressed his dissatisfaction at the time. Come on, this should be a game that can be played by 5 people at the same time. Banner said, how about we try it together with 5 people? Just let Stark rest a little. Banner looked at Stark, who was still sitting on his seat thinking about life, and said, are you going to drive a black machine? Su Yang looked at the Banner who formed the team with interest and said, be careful of being abused collectively. Who will lose to those AI idiots? Faced with Su Yang's ridicule, Barney immediately expressed his disbelief. However, when he saw Su Yang gesturing with his eyes to Stark, who was still sitting in front of the computer screen, Barney shut up. He obediently went to the machine and started to enter the game. Su Yang looked at the few people who were enthusiastic and didn't want to break everyone's confidence anymore, and even he gave them an exciting news. By the way, a reminder, if you kill 3 times in the game, you will be awarded half an hour of internet time. 4 kills reward 40 minutes of internet time. If you kill 5 times, you will be rewarded with an hour of internet time. This news instantly ignited the atmosphere of the entire internet cafe. Increased time online. What could be more exciting than this in this internet cafe? Boss, is what you said true? Does 5 kills really reward an hour of internet time? Everyone, including Stark, who had just been hit by the game, asked excitedly. Of course it's true. When did I lie to you? Su Yang responded irrefutably, but don't be happy too early. It's difficult to do 3 kills, let alone the 5 kills you asked. He looked down on people less. Even the captain of the United States couldn't help but reply after being ridiculed by Su Yang one after another. However, Barney and Clark, as well as David and Banner, gave themselves IDs that made Su Yang couldn't help but laugh again. Because Stark and Steve take a particularly normal ID, that is, Iron Man and Captain America, and those 4 people, the ID taken by Banner as the Hulk turned out to be ordinary middle-aged people, and those 3 embody the ideas of young people. What to be youth? Iron Man second, a few handfuls across the sea. The blushing Clark whispered to the gaze of everyone looking at him, take whatever you want, take whatever you want. The next situation is the same as before. Soon, several of them entered the hero selection interface. Since they had all watched Stark's experience from the last game, they directly discussed the selection of the last 5 heroes they knew a little. I must kill 5 times. Everyone remembered the rich reward that Su Yang had just said, and one by one they were rubbing their hands, and they did not put simple man machine in their eyes at all. Neil for subscription favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. Chapter 053. I must kill 5 times. Everyone remembered the rich reward that Su Yang had just said, and one by one they were rubbing their hands, and they did not put simple man machine in their eyes at all. Stark, what do you think their experience will be like this time? Soo-Yang looked at Stark, who came back to his senses, and said. Stark looked at the 5 people who entered the game and then said with a wry smile, as far as I know about them, it should not be much better than me. After the game loads, the screen comes to Summoner Canyon. Welcome to Summoner Canyon. With a familiar voice, 5 heroes appeared in the spring water one after another. Is this Summoner Canyon? After entering, everyone looked around. The feeling of watching inside the game is indeed much more comfortable than looking at the computer screen outside. How do we distribute it? After watching the scenery around them a little, everyone got down to business, and they didn't forget what they came in for. I'll go. Banner commanded his ice shooter and said, I fancy Stark's game. Usually the middle is a person. After all, I'm a hero of long range attacks, and a person will be slightly safer. Banner then commanded, Gallon and Clark, controlled by the captain, controls Aozin to go down, and then you two go on the road. Doctor, if you walk alone in the middle, be careful of the siege on the opposite side, and don't forget the game experience that Stark just enjoyed. Steve kindly reminded. You know, I'll pay attention. Banner nodded and said, the enemy only has 30 seconds to reach the battlefield. When this sentence came to mind, everyone tensed up and gradually entered the state. Let's go. Everyone controls their respective heroes and begins to march on their own paths. Well, wait, if any of us get blooded, how about inviting someone else to lunch at an internet cafe? In order to ease the solemn atmosphere, Clark made a timely suggestion. Okay. Barney raised his hands in approval. I have long wanted to try the food in the internet cafe. I haven't eaten it yet. Every time I'm called home to eat, this time I must eat before leaving. You didn't say it earlier. I knew I wouldn't be alone. Banner shook his head wryly, but said, okay, I'm okay with that. The whole army attacked. While everyone was chatting, a familiar voice sounded again. With the sound of the sound, the melee soldier once again led the long-range minions to slowly set off from the heights. Okay, stop chatting. Play the game seriously. I don't think you want to lose to a bunch of computers. Then Clark said to Steve, who was walking with him, come in and stick your eyes in the next grass to see if there is anyone. It turned out that, while everyone was talking, Clark had already inserted his eyes into the first grass on the next road to determine that there was no one in it, and then asked Steve to determine the second grass. Nobody. Clark's eyes lit up when he noticed that the second grass was also unoccupied, and said, Captain, come in. Maybe we will use their methods to shade them once. Sneak attack. Although Steve said reluctantly, his body was honest, and he followed Clark into the grass and crouched. But the two of them waited until the minions were online, and neither of them saw the heroes of the place. Damn it. Banner, be careful. Steve reacted suddenly and immediately wanted to alert Banner in the middle. First blood. But he was finally a step slower, and his message had just been sent. The sound of blood resounded throughout the Summoner Canyon. Eileen. Banner, who was resurrected in the spring, looked unwilling. He was already careful enough, standing under the defense tower and waiting until the opposing hero appeared before he dared to step forward to mend the knife. However, because the line in the middle is relatively short compared to the other two, when Banner saw that there was only one hero in the middle road, he really thought that there was only one person point, but by the time the other two found out that something was wrong and wanted to remind him that time was over because Banner was surrounded by the grass on both sides and the wall behind the grass, a total of 5 people on one side were directly surrounded in the middle point. What followed was a massacre. As soon as the ice archer controlled by Banner turned around, he was slowed down by one of the Barbarian King's skills called Chicken Point. Then there was a bunch of skill smashing, and the ice shooter's HP instantly bottomed out. Eileen. Soo-Yang was surprised when he looked at this scene. This system is deliberate. How can there be a Barbarian King first level student called a chicken? Through this scene, Soo-Yang could already see that the 5 of them would also feel the fear of being dominated by man and machine. Next point. Sure enough, since the 5 of them were playing this game for the first time, they were still practicing the basic skills of mending knives, and they didn't have the consciousness to wander around to help their teammates at all point every time when they thought they could kill the computer. They were excited to not even read the news of their teammates at this time and rushed forward to kill the computer, but usually at this time, several other big men would rush out of the river and surround them. Stark, who was watching on the side, looked at everyone's experience and felt empathy. This artificial intelligence is also too strong. Strong? This is clearly a rookie pecking at each other. Su Yang shook his head next to him and said, "Boss, don't talk too much." Stark, who had just been abused, heard that Su Yang actually insulted both sides and said unwillingly, "Ouch, you still don't believe it?" Su Yang looked at Stark with interest and said, "Do you want to gamble with me? I rely on. Why is his big move so much faster than mine?" Even the captain of the United States could not keep calm because he found that his Gallon was no match for the opposite Gallon point, although he has already come up with pure meat according to the system's prompts. Every time he enters the group, he will be seconded. Or shall we surrender? Even Gallon, the captain of the United States, was so miserable that he was beaten 0-7. Only one is super ghostly. You can imagine how miserable the data of the other few is, and they are basically super ghosts. It may be that the ice shooter controlled by Banner is a long-range attack hero, except for the early stage of being targeted. After being caught and killed a few times, he saw the situation when he played the group later, the first to turn around and run, and the current record is 0-4. He is now the one with the best record, but he is not optimistic about the outcome of this game. And he will definitely lose if he loses. What? Surrender? The captain of the United States gritted his teeth and said, "There is no such thing as surrender in my dictionary." Demasha. Once again, Steve controlled Gallon to the front. Kneel for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 054. Demasha. Once again, Steve controlled Gallon to the front. Keep playing, it's the game anyway. After David finished speaking, the Infinity Sword Saint who also controlled him rushed forward with Gallon. Double kill. Steve and David had not lasted 5 seconds when the sound of double kills resounded through Summoner Canyon again. Everyone who had just been aroused by Steve stopped at the same time when they saw David, who was double killed, and Steve, who had successfully surpassed the ghost. What? I feel better to surrender. Barney hesitated and said, "This one is definitely hopeless. Let's take the next one." Yes, let's drive one faster, otherwise it's too torturous. This will strongly discourage our next hand. Banner suddenly thought about this and agreed with Barney's proposal to surrender. The mechanism of surrender is that, as long as 4 people agree to surrender, then the surrender is successful. So no matter how much the captain of the United States opposes, it is useless. This game is really difficult. Clark, David, and Barney took off their helmets and leaned back in their seats dejectedly. They were unsurprisingly beaten by Man-Machine hanging and finally ended up with a huge score of 0-42. And this result is still in the case of their active surrender. It is conceivable that, if they do not surrender like the captain of the United States, this score difference will definitely be even greater. They vaguely remember all kinds of grandiose words before the game began, but after a game was played, they could only one after another. At this moment, they deeply felt the fear that Stark's eye had just been dominated by Man-Machine. Eileen, Banner, why did you agree to surrender? Steve took off his helmet in anger and said that he was probably the only one who had been so shocked and still had the energy to speak. Because the word surrender does not exist in his dictionary, he feels that it is an insult to him. Captain, don't get excited, it's just a game, look at them. Banner pointed to Barney and the 3 and said, if we don't surrender again, do you think everyone will still be in the mood to play? Despite Banner's explanation, Steve could not accept his surrender. Banner, who was speaking, suddenly paused, and then his tone fluctuated significantly and said, do you have any special feelings? Hearing this, Barney said angrily, I have been abused. Can I feel anything other than being particularly uncomfortable? Wait, I feel like I'm feeling a lot better. David is suffering from many years of illness, so he is particularly sensitive to changes in his body. By the way, don't forget the commonality of the previous 2 games. Banner's eyes suddenly lit up and said, in addition to being fun, this game can definitely bring us other benefits. Banner guessed excitedly. If the difficulty of the game is directly proportional, then although League of Legends is very difficult to get started, it can also bring us more benefits. If I'm not mistaken, killing a certain number of minions, as well as increasing the level of heroes, can be synchronized to reality to improve our strength. It's a pity that we weren't able to kill a local hero just now, otherwise we would definitely get a greater improvement. After speaking, Banner turned his gaze to Suyang, hoping to get Suyang's affirmative answer. Don't you know, if you play a few more times? Suyang looked at him calmly. The expression on his face did not change, making it to figure out what he really impossible thought in his heart. Here it is again. Every time you ask these questions, the boss you look like a superior person in the world. Banner shook his head and said, it seems that we have to spend more on this game today. Despite the short exposure time, Banner developed a keen interest in the game. If it weren't for the limit on his internet time, he would definitely stay in the internet cafe around the clock. Guys, we seem to have a little bit of time on the machine. How about we hurry up and have another round? Banner was eager to verify what he had just guessed, so he called everyone together. How are the 6 of us together? Isn't this game only for 5 people at most? Clark pointed to the 6 people present. You guys play. I don't want to play for now. Steve has not yet come out of the shadow of surrender just now, and he decides to go to the road to survive alone to slaughter and slaughter zombies to vent the depression in his heart. Okay, let's try to get ahead this time, Banner said to several people, otherwise, we would be too humiliated. This time it's still the old rule, I'll go to the middle road, and then you go up and down separately. Banner once again assigned the work of the crowd. Remember the most important thing, that is, as soon as someone on your path disappears, immediately alert the other 2 people. Do you understand? Got it. Everyone looked serious and prepared to enter the game. Suyang, who was preparing to see how everyone was abused again, was attracted by several guests welcomed by the internet cafe. Oh, it was actually Director Nick them. Suyang slowly walked over. Hey, did you guys form a group from S.H.I.E.L.D. today? Boss, we want to ask you something, Nick said to Suyang with an indifferent look this time. Oh, it seems that last night's events had a great impact on you. Suyang looked at Nick and said nonchalantly. After hearing Suyang's words, all the people of S.H.I.E.L.D. immediately became on guard and waited for the director's words, and then they would rush up and take down the young man in front of them. But Nick reached out to stop them, took a deep breath and said, is last night's incident really related to you? Nick actually didn't want to go against Suyang, because the strength Suyang showed was already a level higher than the technology they had with S.H.I.E.L.D. alone. And he actually admired Suyang very much, but if Suyang was really related to last night's incident, then they S.H.I.E.L.D. could only do their best to arrest Suyang. Related. Suyang shook his head. No, last night's incident has nothing to do with me. I have always been sitting in the internet cafe. Who can prove what you said? Carlson said coldly next to him. Proof? I don't need any proof. Suyang glanced at Carlson coldly and said, if you are here to surf the internet, I welcome it. But if you are looking for fault, I advise you to bear the consequences. Kneel for subscription favorite evaluation reward flowers thank you. Guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 055. But if you are looking for fault, I advise you to bear the consequences. Wait. Nick stopped the emotional crowd again. Don't forget that you are agents. What kind of system are you now? Boss, I want to know what you know, and you know that I don't want to be an enemy of you. Otherwise I wouldn't have come to talk to you. Nick said sincerely to Suyang. I can only say that you can only blame yourself for last night's incident. Suyang first judged and then continued. Is the person you met last night called Loki? Nick nodded when he heard this. You know him? Of course, you know, the evil god of Norse mythology and legend. Your old acquaintance. the younger brother of the thunder god Thor, a guy who is not very strong, but who is very good at intrigue and trickery. Su Yang suddenly said with a smile. Strength is not good. Nick looked at Su Yang, who suddenly smiled, and wanted to punch this smiling face. If you don't have good strength, you can still take the cosmic cube away from the secret base of S.H.I.E.L.D. by one person. By the way, he also brought his right-hand man Hawkeye and the important scientific talent Dr. Selvig. Su Yang looked at them and said, he won't snatch the cosmic cube for no reason, nor does he have the ability to use the energy of the cosmic cube. All of this is your own fault. Finally, the topic returned to the beginning. Why do you say that? Nick didn't understand why Su Yang said that they had asked for it, because they didn't tell anyone about studying the cosmic Rubik's Cube, unless... Are you saying that the problem is with the cosmic cube? Nick said in surprise. Yes. Looking at Nick, who reacted quickly, Su Yang praised, because you have done your own research on the cosmic Rubik's Cube and activated the cosmic Rubik's Cube, you will attract the attention of others. Don't think that what you did with the cosmic cube is unknown to everyone. I think you should have made some weapons to come out. After speaking, Su Yang deliberately looked back at the captain of the United States who was playing the game and found that he did not notice Nick's arrival. But if that's all, then we can still fix it. Nick's furrowed brow stretched a little. Just like that? You are so naive. Su Yang shook his head in disdain and continued, if it's just Loki, you can indeed solve it. Just Thor alone is enough. But have you considered the person behind Loki? What? Is there still behind God? Nick said a little incredulously. I just said that Loki does not have the ability to use the energy of the cosmic cube, and you have studied it for so long. You should know how incredible the energy of the cosmic cube is. Of course, that's why I say it's worth it. Is it worth it? Su Yang looked at Nick, who was still obsessed in front of him, and said, if you knew that the enemy you face next would be the Charita Starman, maybe you wouldn't think so. What? Charita Starman? Alien invasion? That's right, they plan to use the cosmic cube to open the portal, and then teleport their army over to attack the Earth first, and then start to rely on the cosmic cube to invade the entire universe. What? A big breath. Do they really think they are invincible? Nick said a little sarcastically. Big deal, he was excited about the Avengers' plan to deal with R, and after so many Skynet cafes enhanced, Nick is now a little inflated. They may not be invincible, there are many characters in the universe who can actually deal with them, but there are people behind them, and the people behind them are indeed invincible in the Earth now. Su Yang poured another plate of cold water on Nick. Who is behind them? Thanos. A strong man in the universe who once collected 6 Infinity Stones. How strong can he be? Nick still asked impatiently. Looking at the immortal Nick, Su Yang only said one sentence. How strong? The cosmic cube that your shield is now studying is just a part of his weapon, a glove. How strong do you say he is? What? Nick said in disbelief, because the cosmic cube alone was enough for S.H.I.E.L.D. to study, and he couldn't imagine that one of the components of the weapon was the cosmic cube. Do you mean that, because S.H.I.E.L.D.'s research on the cosmic cube activates the cosmic Rubik's Cube, the enemy will be ushered in? Well, your conclusion is almost correct. So what if we stop studying the cosmic cube now? Can this catastrophe be stopped? Nick asked nervously, not knowing why he actually fully believed Su Yang's words. Well, you can't. Of course, Su Yang said no. Even if he could, he would say no. Otherwise, how could Su Yang do the task? He was interested in other gems on Thanos. So we are going to have a war? Nick asked with a gloomy face. Of course. So how long until he comes? With such a strong opponent, I hope to prepare early. I don't know about this. It should be a few years. Su Yang really didn't know how long Thanos had come. Boss, I hope to get your help. You are also in New York. You should not want to see New York destroyed in the hands of aliens. Nick sincerely pleaded with Su Yang. Don't worry about this. I will make a move myself when it's time to strike. Even if it wasn't for Nick's initiative, Su Yang would have made a move in the end. After all, there was still a task waiting for him. It seems that the Avengers program must be activated this time, and Hill can start contacting them. Nick said anxiously to Hill next to him. Chief, look inside. Mariah Hill pointed to the inside of the Internet Café and whispered. Ah, I almost forgot. I don't have to look for them. Basically you're here. Nick patted his head and said, go, and call them out. We've been talking about these effects in other people's internet cafes. Hey, don't you guys go in and talk about your door as long as you're responsible for opening a machine for one of your men. Su-Yang didn't want the guest in front of him to fly. There just happened to be a new game. Don't you try it? Huh. Nick thought about it and found that Su-Yang's internet cafe seemed to be safer now. After all, now that Hawkeye was taken away by Loki, he did not dare to guarantee that other secret bases were not exposed. Then boss, trouble you, open 4 machines for me. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the advanced task. The internet cafe is full. Reward the host internet cafe for upgrading once and increasing the level by 5. For more free Flu novels, https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 056. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the advanced task. The internet cafe is full. Reward the host internet cafe for upgrading once and increasing the level by 5. Ding. Since the host level reaches level 20, the special bloodline in the host is opened. Sure enough, Su-Yang heard the voice he wanted to hear, and the reason why he was so active in letting Nick and them on the plane was that he saw that there were just 4 of them plus just 10 people in the store, and they could sit in the internet cafe. In this case, the system will give 100% reward, and the worst reward is to increase the number of computers. But what is unexpected is to directly upgrade the internet cafe. Bloodline system? What is it? Su-Yang, who was originally happy, was suddenly stunned, and then quickly clicked on his character panel. System host, Su-Yang level 20 hundredths, power 180, 10 for ordinary adults. Physical strength 200, 10 for ordinary adult intelligence. 130, 10 for ordinary adult speed. 220, 10 for ordinary adults. Special abilities, surgical fruit, invisibility, escape, SF ear, teleportation point special items, true eye, banshee veil point special bloodline, none point. Su-Yang could clearly see that there was an extra column of special bloodlines on his character panel point, but now he doesn't have a single bloodline. System, what is this special bloodline? Su-Yang asked suspiciously. No comment. Stay tuned. Lean. This game is so hard. Banner and their 5 black team has once again stepped back from man-machine mode. Fortunately, our progress is obvious. Banner was more excited because after he came out, he clearly felt that his guess was right. Of course you're happy, Doctor. You know, you killed 3 heads. Barney said enviously next to him point this time, because of the experience of being caught, they really did a good job in preventing gank. As long as the other 2 roads were not there, they didn't even eat the experience, and they kept hiding far under the tower. However, although this will not die, the economic gap has been widened, and it can only be said that it barely has the power of a war in the end. Although they lost, they were not shaved, and the final figure was 4 to 20 point drive. Banner received 3 heads alone, so only he came out with a happy expression. Doctor, will you give us a play with cold ice next time? Barney thinks it's all because the ice shooter's attacks are ranged, so it's easy to grab people's heads. Hey, why are you here? Banner did not answer the question head on, but saw Nick's presence and changed the subject. We have something to ask you, something very important, Nick said in a heavy tone. What's the situation? Hearing Nick's heavy tone, Banner put away the joy on his face and asked, we're in big trouble. Nick glanced at the 3 Clark and said, but don't worry, let's wait a minute. By the way, it is said that a new game has appeared. What kind of game? Nick asked curiously. Big bald head, you don't know that in the past few days, when you didn't come, there are a lot of new things in the internet cafe. Stark said next to him, but I remember that some people just bet that whoever was taken a blood would invite everyone to dinner. Banner, who was originally a little happy to take 3 heads, heard this, and his face darkened instantly, and he took out his wallet and gritted his teeth and said, boss, come 5 bowls of beef noodles. Hey, it seems to be missing. Stark gestured to the current number of people. When we bet on it, there will be 5 people, and we will not have your share. Banner said with a smile. Haha, I can finally try the noodles in the internet cafe. Barney excitedly. Noodles are coming. Suyang immediately brought out the noodles. It has long been prepared for you. By the way, does Boss Sue remember the bet we two just made? Stark said suddenly. Oh, what do you want to bet? Suyang smiled. Didn't you just say that we are all rookie chickens pecking at each other? So I want to see how you play this game. Stark thought for a moment and then said, let's bet on who gets the blood between you and the computer first. Haha, okay, accept this bet. Hearing this, everyone quickly looked at Suyang, who was standing on the side, and asked, really? Boss? Alas, look, you are so pitiful, let me teach you a lesson. Suyang said undeniably. Under everyone's curious gaze, Suyang logged into his game account. It is worth mentioning that the system uses the previous talent rune system in order to make more money, so that led to the next scene. Full of runes, full of heroes, full of skins. When he saw everything on Suyang's account, everyone's envious saliva flowed. You don't have to envy me too much. After noticing the change in everyone's expressions, Suyang said with a smile, these are the benefits of Krypton Gold. Want an account like me full of runes, full of heroes, full of skins? Charge your money. Money is just a number for you rich people. And after you recharge, in fact, the money is not used, it is just a different way to still accompany you. Suyang knew very well how tempting his full account was for these people who had just experienced the game, so he would not give up this good opportunity to advertise. After all, he still has the financial loopholes formed by buying games that have not yet been filled. My god, more than 100 heroes, hundreds of skins, and so many runes. How much does it cost to buy them all? Even in the face of Suyang's extremely tempting voice, everyone was awakened by the huge number. Well, I should have figured out how to make myself stronger, Stark said from the side. Smart. It seems that poverty limits the imagination of some people. Suyang praised next to him, and you can buy this thing slowly, buy one every time you come, and slowly you will have it. Slowly, Suyang turned on the man-machine mode and began his own game journey point in order to show his technique more intuitively. The teammates and opponents that Suyang set up for himself are exactly the same as Stark's. As soon as the screen turns, you will enter the hero selection interface. The full screen hero once again blinded everyone's eyes. In particular, Suyang slowly swiped the interface down, and basically every hero pulled out to take a look. I'm so angry. Why can Suyang be a hero? Just because I'm the boss. You can top up the money if you want. Faced with this question, Suyang quickly responded. Remember the truth of my internet cafe, Krypton Gold. As long as you Krypton Gold can become stronger, remember this sentence. Suyang never forgot to brainwash them and charge money. Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free follow novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 057. Remember the truth of my internet cafe, Krypton Gold. As long as you Krypton Gold can become stronger, remember this sentence. Wow, Timo, Lulu is so good. Mariah Hill said enviously next to her. I think generally, if it's my words, I must choose Bloom. His shield looks hard. Even Captain America withdrew from the game to see how Suyang played this game, but he just happened to see this scene. I want Rambo. I feel that the match he drove is quite interesting. Stark also voiced his opinion. It's really a group of novice players. Suyang deliberately mocked. It seems that you all don't know which heroes are called heroes of faith. Heroes of faith. The crowd made a surprised noise. Yasuo, Leaking, Raven, Heyo and so on. As a hero of faith in the minds of LoL players, the most basic requirement is to show. If a hero can't show off, he is not eligible to be a hero of faith. Heroes of faith are known for their cool moves and ethereal and flexible operations. The shape looks ordinary. How can there be a cool shape like a titan? Captain America said disapprovingly. That's just your delusion. Suyang pulled down the hero page and then chose the unchanging brother of the world for 10,000 years blind leaking. I use my hands to make your dreams come true. The hero of the blind monk actually has two names. Some blind monks are called leaking, and some blind monks are called blind point. You must know that in the world before Su Yang crossed over, if you often played A, there is not a blind monk in the hero pool that cannot be called Day Point the blind man that Su Yang met in the ranking. It is no exaggeration to say that he can already circle the equator twice. This hero is selected with only two outcomes, either to beat the opposite side in the early stage, or to destroy himself in the early stage, and there is no third outcome point. This is a hero who will make people panic both on their own side and on the other side. However, in order to show off his operation in front of everyone, Su Yang chose his own hero who was best at crossing before. Boss Su Yang, it seems that you are very confident. This hero is really as strong as you say. Banner looked at the calm Su Yang and said, wait for you to know. By the way, it's best not to eat noodles when you watch it, otherwise I'm afraid you'll be choked to death. When Su Yang finished saying this, the game had already loaded. Welcome to Summoner Canyon. It's still a familiar voice. Then there were a few bangs, and Su Yang's teammates appeared in the spring. Eileen, why is your attack power so much higher than ours? And why can you have flashes and ignition? A key problem was identified. No way. Who made me a full hero and full rune and a higher level? Su Yang smiled and said, do you want to be a man as strong as me? You know, the reason why Su Yang is so confident that he can show off in front of everyone is not only his confidence in the operation of heroes, but also his confidence in talent and runes. The enemy army still has 30 seconds to reach the battlefield. With a familiar voice, Su Yang and the computer thought of 3 ways from the spring water together. Su Yang took the lead and chose the middle road. The whole army attacked. Melee and ranged minions set off from the heights to 3 paths. The opposite prince opposite Su Yang's blind man point. Su Yang ordered a first level heavenly thunder break, but he was not in a hurry to go online to replenish troops, because he actually knew that there were definitely people on the other side who were ambushing him, so he was not in a hurry at all. Sure enough, his teammates went online and did not find the location of the opposite hero. Boss, it turns out that you are also obscene. I thought you wanted 1v5. Stark said with a smile. No hurry, say that you are a rookie and not convinced. How can you be 1v5 at level 1? Su Yang didn't care about this. After the army line entered the tower, Su Yang perfectly replenished every soldier with years of mending knife technology. Eileen on, this mending knife is simple. Just surprised. The best is yet to come. The corners of Su Yang's mouth lifted a range of satisfaction. After the 3rd level, Su Yang found a good angle. Q hit the prince, and then instantly Q went over and leveled A to trigger thunder, and then W back to his small group. The first wave of consumption was completed perfectly. Soon both sides came to level 6. You see, the heroes of the other 2 paths are gone. Stark, who was watching next to him, whispered, do you want to remind the boss? He didn't seem to notice. Banner asked. No, let him be rounded up once, to know how we feel. Sure enough, just when Su Yang was about to consume the prince's blood again, suddenly, 4 figures rushed out from the river on both sides of the middle road point. However, because Su Yang entered a little deeply, and his basic skills were still cooling, the boss is finished. He can't run back to the tower after this distance is called a chicken by the brute. Sure enough, the brute's big knife suddenly waved and used the chicken, but Su Yang, who was running back, had been paying attention to this. I saw him flexibly turn around and dodge the brute's slowing effect. Eileen, can this skill still hide like this? Everyone was shocked by Su Yang's small operation. But just when Su Yang was about to reach the bottom of the tower, Demasha, the prince on the opposite side, shouted and covered him within the range of the big move. In an instant, the 5 heroes of the enemy side, except for Galen, all used their assault skills and wanted to fight in groups. When they arrived at Su Yang's side, I saw that Su Yang's blind man's blood fell very quickly. Haha, it seems that boss Su Yang is going to pay for the big words he said. Seeing such a scene, Stark seemed to have seen Su Yang's frustrated expression after being killed, and he had already said that he was ready to mock. After all, he had just been ridiculed enough. Tony, don't get excited. Have you seen boss Su Yang's expression change? When Banner saw that Su Yang's expression had not changed, he felt that things were not so simple, but he couldn't think of anything Su Yang had to do to solve the current dilemma. Want to kill me? The The corners of Su Yang's mouth suddenly lifted. I saw that the blind man controlled by Su Yang hit the first AoE damage with a heavenly thunder, and then a heavenly sound wave kicked the Wuji sword saint, and then a raptor swung its tail and flashed. That is, the R flash in the teleportation lifted the Wuji sword saint back to the tower, and by the way, he also killed the prince who was already bloody. First blood. The sound of the blood resounded throughout the Summoner Canyon, and it also stunned all the people standing behind the screen. But the surprises continue. Sure enough, Su Yang controlled leaking with an echo strike, and flew to the side of the Wuji sword saint who was kicked by him under the tower, and took the Wuji sword saint with him. Double kill. The sound of the blood just dispersed, and then the sound of double killing resounded throughout the Summoner Canyon again. Kneel for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you guys for more free follow novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 058. Double kill. The sound of the blood just dispersed, and then the sound of double killing resounded throughout the Summoner Canyon again. And after the barbarian king saw Su Yang's remnant blood escape, he roared. The brute turned on his endless rage, and then a whirlwind wanted to get close to the bloody Su Yang to collect his head. But Su Yang had already considered this, and a glance opened the distance from the barbarian king, and then the classic operation of the king around the pillar, once again consuming the barbarian king to death. Triple kill. After the sound of the double killing dissipated, the sound of the 3 kills sounded again. With a set of cloud-like operations, Su Yang easily completed the GD escape plus counter killing of 3 people. Eileen. No way. What kind of hero is he? Why so flexible? Everyone is conquered by the flexibility of the blind. You know, the reason why they will be beaten so badly by the computer is basically because once they are called chickens by brutes, they generally give up the operation. In particular, the blind hero became more flexible in Su Yang's hands, and he came and went freely on the battlefield. The next result is obvious. In the case of getting the advantage of 3 kills in the early stage, Su Yang, as an old bird, will definitely roll the snowball bigger and bigger. This caused Su Yang's level and equipment to be ahead of the entire field. With his sharp operation and superb consciousness, Su Yang directly came out of the pure output outfit, and he turned into a human head mad demon to slaughter the entire canyon. After the whole game, he even got 30 heads. The final data becomes 30-0. The first 2 ravaged Stark and Banner on their computers, and this one was directly shaved by Su Yang. You guys calm down, these are just basic operations. Su Yang slowly took off the helmet, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Want to get rid of the fear of man-machine domination? Want to become a god who dominates man and machine? Let's play Heroes of Faith. Looking at everyone's heartbeat, Su Yang seemed to have imagined that the future Summoner Canyon must be full of elementary school monks, fishtails, child robberies, and nursery robes. Stark, the bet between the two of us seems like I won. Su Yang smiled at Stark. You should be willing to gamble and lose. Of course, boss, you say. Stark said without care. Now his mind is full of faith. Heroic operations. As long as I can do it, I can do it for you. Don't worry, this thing may be difficult for others, but it is especially simple for you. Su Yang paused for a moment and then said, I need one of your arc reactors. I guess this is not difficult for you. Arc reactor? Stark said with a frown. Why, is this hard? No, it's not difficult. It's just Stark hesitated and then said, I want to know what you're using, boss. Why don't you care? I can only say that it will help the next situation. Su Yang glanced at Nick after speaking. Sure enough, Stark looked at Nick, who gave him an affirmative look. Okay, I'll bring it to you tomorrow. Stark agreed. Hearing Stark agreed, Su Yang nodded with satisfaction. Hey, you 3 little fart children have also arrived at the internet time today. The beef noodles have also been eaten, and the show just now has also been watched. Is it time to leave? Su Yang signaled to Clark that they were going to talk about something important, and the matter of S.H.I.E.L.D. was impossible for ordinary people like them to hear. So Clark too. They left the internet cafe with great interest. Okay, they're all gone. You can say what you just said is very important. As soon as Banner saw that Nick did not choose to come in and asked himself and Stark to leave, but chose to open 4 machines for themselves, He knew that Su Yang should already know about this matter. Yes, what is so serious? Steve also asked from the sidelines. You wouldn't be trying to activate the Avengers, would you? Stark suddenly said in a solemn tone. Huh, you hacked our shield system again. Nick looked at Stark with a smile and said, but now it is not a matter of pursuing this. Yes, this matter must be activated by the Avengers plan. Project Avengers? What is it? Steve and Banner both asked. In order to prevent the sudden and powerful evil forces from posing a mortal threat to the Earth, no superhero can resist it alone. SHIELD, long-standing committed to protecting the world, fears that it will be caught off guard, and its commander One-Eyed Nick realizes that he must create a strongest alliance organization plan to gather superheroes to fight together in order to save the world from the dark forces. Nick briefly explained the so-called Avengers plan. What? Have any evil forces begun to invade? Steve caught the point of Nick's words. Yes, it has already begun. Just last night, one of our secret bases of S.H.I.E.L.D. was destroyed by Loki, the evil god of Norse mythology. Loki? Is he alone worth starting the Avengers program? Stark said suspiciously, because he had hacked the S.H.I.E.L.D. system, so he knew that Thor existed, and as far as he knew, Thor should help them. He may not be qualified, but the guy at the bar said that Loki will attract aliens to invade our Earth. So I want to start the Avengers plan, and I want to make sure that I get back the Cosmic Cube and stop this catastrophe. Nick did not choose to tell all the information that Su Yang told him, because he also thought about taking the Cosmic Cube back. S.H.I.E.L.D. continued to study, since he could no longer avoid the hostile relationship with Thanos, then he could only do his best to improve the power of the Earth in order to protect himself in the next calamity point. If he had let Steve know that it was because S.H.I.E.L.D. had studied the cosmic Rubik's Cube that had caused the crisis, they would definitely be in favor of destroying the Cosmic Cube. Hearing this, everyone looked at the lazy Su Yang in surprise. Boss, don't you stay in the internet cafe every day? How do you know everything? You don't have to worry about me. I know more than you think. Su Yang got himself a bowl of beef noodles and said while eating, by the way, if you want to find the Rubik's Cube, Dr. Banner should be able to find Loki's location based on gamma rays. In fact, because Su Yang has a picture of the True Eye, as long as he wants, he can directly tell Nick the location of their cosmic Rubik's Cube, but the whole card of the True Eye cannot be exposed now, so he chose to let Dr. Banner find the cosmic Rubik's Cube as in the plot point. Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you, guys, for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 059. In fact, because Su Yang has a picture of the True Eye, as long as he wants, he can directly tell Nick the location of their cosmic Rubik's Cube, but the whole card of the True Eye cannot be exposed now, so he chose to let Dr. Banner find the cosmic Rubik's Cube as in the plot. Yes? Nick immediately asked. Well, it should be possible, but I need the instrument, Banner said with certainty. This way. Nick turned to Su Yang and said, then boss, we will go first, and we will visit next time. Let's go. Nick said to everyone. Let's go, let's go, I'm running out of time online anyway. Stark didn't have much opinion, but, boss, believe that I will definitely defeat your artificial intelligence when I come next time. It should be almost time for the show. Su Yang looked at the few people who were far away and thought, do you say Nick is hiding anything from us? Steve, Stark, and Banner arrive at S.H.I.E.L.D. airbase. What do you think will happen? Banner said as he fiddled with the machine. So what, Captain, can you go out? The two of us are busy looking for the cosmic cube right now, and you don't seem to be able to help us here. Stark then threw out another thing and said, as for what you said about whether Nick is hiding anything from us, I believe you should know it after reading this. What's in this? Remember what Nick said was taken by Loki? Since obtaining the cosmic cube, S.H.I.E.L.D. has not stopped studying it and has made progress in recent times and has begun to make weapons. Stark said calmly. What? The next thing is everyone arguing. It seems that, because of Su Yang, the butterfly effect began to work, and Captain America and Iron Man, who were supposed to catch Loki, lost the opportunity to catch Loki because of the internet point. Thor, who would have fought with Iron Man when Loki was deliberately caught, did not appear this time, as if the plot had begun to shift from its normal trajectory. And Soo-Yang didn't know all this, and he calmly thought that the plot was a normal development. Found it. Just as everyone was arguing, Banner suddenly shouted, "Well, but this place seems a little strange." Banner said with a strange look. Where? Everyone asked in unison. "Near your building." Banner turned to Stark and said strangely, "What? This forced to run to my house? How can Stark tolerate people messing around in his own home? Guys, let's go." Nick looked at everyone present and said. At this time, Soo-Yang, who was lazily lying on the bar, suddenly sat up straight and muttered in his mouth, "Has it finally started?" Then Soo-Yang frowned again and said, "Why is it so much ahead? Shouldn't there be 2 more days in between? Why did I get the cosmic cube yesterday and now I start acting? Could it be that the plot has changed?" Soo-Yang's face changed. In fact, this news was completely bad news for Soo-Yang, because if the plot changed unpredictably, it was possible that Soo-Yang's plan would have loopholes. Fortunately, I prepared a relay in advance, and now I will see if the Red Skull will disappoint me. But it doesn't seem to have changed much, because Soo-Yang suddenly saw the figure of Dr. Selvig on the True Eye screen. He remembered that the plot itself seemed to be that Selvig used the space passage opened by the cosmic cube to lead the Star Charioteer to New York. It looks like it's going to be closed for a day today. Soo-Yang slowly walked out of the Internet Cafe. It's coming quite quickly. Just out of the Internet Cafe door, he saw a figure speeding across the sky, and Stark learned that Loki was actually on his own building, running back with all his strength. But strangely, it is clear that the mecha on Stark's body is actually not injured, but he still chooses to take it off and rely on his body to face Loki. Evil God. I don't know how much chance my body has against God now. Stark thought to himself. Jarvis, the mecha is in the standby stage. If Soo-Yang knew Stark's thoughts at this time, I don't know if he would have a sense of accomplishment. After all, it was his Internet Cafe that created Tony Stark now. Hey, Loki? Your name is Loki, right? Stark said slowly. Oh, you know me. Loki turned his head and looked at the mortal in front of him with interest. You are the owner of this mansion, Tony Stark. I didn't expect that the great god could actually know that I, a mortal, is really honored. Stark slowly walked over to Loki's side. You're still a bit of aura, and I admire you. Stark suddenly noticed that Loki, who was talking, had disappeared, and Loki, who had reappeared, was right in front of him. Loki pressed his scepter a little closer to Stark's chest, trying to control Stark the way he could control Hawkeye, but the scepter touched the reactor on Stark's chest. Then both of them were fluted. Stark smiled and said, "You seem to need repairs." Just when the two people were stunned, suddenly a pillar of light fell from the sky and appeared above Stark's building. Needless to say, it must be Thor coming, but I didn't expect that because of the butterfly effect caused by Soo-Yang. Thor, who should have come earlier and then united with the Avengers, has now become coming now. Now the situation is starting to delicate. Loki, come back to Asgard with me. As soon as Thor came out, he shouted to Loki. He was about to lose patience with this mischievous brother. Thor, save me. This man wants to take the scepter from my hand against Asgard. Loki shouted when he saw Thor coming, turning his eyes at Stark. What? Thor would not allow anyone to try to cause harm to Asgard, and he saw Stark standing in front of Loki with a smile on his face, and indeed it seemed that Loki was in a vulnerable position. You should be Thor, I've heard of you. Stark looked at the sudden appearance of Thor and smiled. And you should know that your brother is best at intrigue, so you won't believe him, right? Hearing this, Thor hesitated a little. Indeed, he knew the nature of his brother, but as an older brother, he would choose to believe it every time. But Thor is not the kind of person who casually hurts others. Loki, come back with me. Huh? Do you want to take me back now? You look outside first. Loki saw that the provocation could not be achieved, and simply picked it out. Anyway, with the help of the Charioteer Starman, he did not think that he would fail. Suddenly, a beam of light shot into the sky near the Stark Tower. Kneel for subscription favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you. Guys, for more free Falu novels, https discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 060. Huh, do you want to take me back now? You look outside first. Loki saw that the provocation could not be achieved and simply picked it out anyway. With the help of the Cherita Starman, he did not think that he would fail. Suddenly, a beam of light shot into the sky near the Stark Tower. With the continuous rotation of Dr. Selvig's device, a beam of light was launched from the device and shot into the sky not far away, slowly opening a huge portal. Jarvis. Launch Mark 7. It turned out that when Stark and Thor were attracted by the movement outside, Loki decisively chose to break through. As Thor's younger brother, Loki of course knows how strong his brother is, so he decisively chooses Stark, who is obviously weak. Loki is also a god, so although his physical fitness is not comparable to Thunder, he can still kick and fly compared to Stark in the first position. But the same, his scepter was also knocked to the ground by Iron Man. However, Stark also clearly felt the effect of improving in the Internet Café in the recent period, because he had no trace of injury except for his body flying out. Need help? Stark, who was about to land, suddenly heard a familiar voice. Su-Yang. What are you doing here? Stark said in surprise, but now is not the time to ask this. We really need help. Dr. Selvig's device has been completed, and the army of Cherita Starman is about to be brought over. We now need you to block it first, to buy some time for the people of the New York City area to escape. I think the New York chief will advertise your internet cafe for free afterwards. Is it? Then I'll go and block it. Su-Yang smiled. Now there is finally a legitimate reason to collect the Cherita Starman. As for what New York chief advertised to the internet cafe, Su-Yang didn't think about it at all. After all, his internet cafe was not open for ordinary people to patronize. Although he doesn't mind, the internet fee alone has eliminated a lot of ordinary people, not to mention how many people will be eliminated by the registration fee for each game inside. After Su-Yang left, Stark immediately contacted Nick. You guys hurry up. We need assistance. Now the strength of the enemy is significantly higher than ours. They already had Loki in the controlled Hawkeye, and now we have to count the Thor who doesn't know if it's friend or foe. Stark looked at Thor, who was still in the building, and said, I'll go to test the temptation. I hope he can be with us. Otherwise we will all be cool this time. Stark quickly flew up the mansion again, and said to Thor, I want to know, are you still the righteous Thor you used to be? What do you mean? Thor said with a frown. You also saw that all this was made by your brother. Shouldn't you be a little responsible? Can you bear to see the life of New York in ruins? Stark said, pointing to people fleeing for their lives in the streets. Thor took a deep breath and said, I'll help you, but I hope you'll hand Loki over to me afterwards and take it back to Asgard. Deal. Stark was relieved, as long as he could solve the current problem and hand Loki over to them. But Stark finally said, but you have to make sure that he will not reappear to plague our planet. Don't worry about this, I have an inch. What should I do next? Thor asked. Now that Su-Yang has gone to stop the invasion of Cherita's army, our priority is to find a way to close the portal. Stark said quickly. Su-Yang. Can he be alone? TH said with some doubt. You must know that the Cherita Starman is also a very strong existence in the universe. If he can't do it, then I think no one on Earth can do it, and we can only choose to believe him now. Although Stark didn't know how strong Su-Yang really was, he believed that Su-Yang would not let him down. The two soon arrived at Dr. Selvig's location. Bang. Damn it. It turned out that Stark tried to destroy the cosmic cube with a weapon to achieve the effect of closing the portal, but the attack bounced back to his own body just after reaching the light curtain formed by the cosmic cube. How the hell is this thing going to shut down? While Stark and Thor were figuring out how to close the portal. At this time, Su-Yang was playing high. I saw that, as soon as the portal opened, the Cherita Starman couldn't wait to rush in, but as soon as they entered, they found that there was actually a person floating in the sky. Hey, hello. Su-Yang directly cast the exclusive space of the surgical fruit, enveloping most of the portal. The Cherita Starman, who rushed out in a hurry, didn't have time to enjoy the sun of the earth, and he moved his head directly at the door, but a strange scene appeared. All the Cherita Starmen who had moved their heads did not fall into the sky, but disappeared directly in place. It turned out that the system defaulted that, as long as the Cherita Starmen killed by Su-Yang were all counted in the collection task, the system automatically absorbed them. Then now there was a strange scene in the sky, and from the outsider's point of view, the Cherita Starman who had just come from the other side of the door disappeared directly, as if he had entered another door. I rely on it. This boss is too strong. At this time, Banner and Captain America, who hurriedly arrived, looked at the strange scene in the sky and said, I feel that he can solve this disaster alone. Less nonsense, save people quickly. However, because the door is too big, incredibly large, because it is not the same magnitude as the door in Su-Yang's image, there are still a small number of Cherita Starmen flying to New York City outside the range shrouded by Su-Yang. Is the big guy finally here? The Cherita Starman in the universe finally discovered Su-Yang's difficulty, so he sent a hideous looking giant beast. Eileen, how did the number increase so fast? At this time, Captain America and Banner said to deal with the aliens. When they looked up, it turned out that Su-Yang was dealing with a hideous looking giant beast, so he didn't have much energy to deal with those ordinary aliens, causing the increase of speed to become faster. Tony, you don't have to worry about that thing. First help the citizens escape, and then go and help Su-Yang block the door. Steve saw that the situation was no longer within his and Banner's control, so he could only call Stark to help. Guys, you've got another helper. It was Nick's voice coming from the contactor. I saw another spaceship flying in the distance. Hey, long time no see. Black Widow's voice came from above. Where is Hawkeye? Neil for subscription collectioner Valuati on Reward floor worst Q underscore. To see the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Filu for more free Filu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 061. Hey, long time no see. Black Widow's voice came from above. Where is Hawkeye? Over here. Eileen on. This forced arrow is so accurate. After hearing the words of the American captain, Stark didn't he really want to help them, but now he was completely held back by Hawkeye, and can't be a killer. If you run, you can only be a target. Stark is very uncomfortable now, originally thinking of getting Hawkeye with Thor in a short time. As a result, Thunder God couldn't stop the portal, and he seemed to be a little dissatisfied with Su-Yang's strength, and actually ran to block the door. You are Su-Yang? Thor asked after knocking over a Cherita Starman on a flying machine. At this time, Su-Yang, who was busy dealing with the giant beast, no longer had much energy to deal with him, because the giant beast was too big. Su-Yang didn't know whether the giant beast in front of him should be regarded as the battleship of the Cherita Starman or the weapon of the Cherita Starman, but it didn't matter. Anyway, the final result was the same, that is, to become Su-Yang's booty. Su-Yang, who wanted to try his current physical fitness, quickly came to the portal using the dance air technique and punched the giant beast that had not completely flown out. The result was just to smash the head of the behemoth a little, and it did not stop the behemoth from moving forward. Raw. The giant beast roared furiously and crashed towards Su-Yang. Ouch. It seems that my strength still needs to be improved. Su-Yang directly used the surgical fruit to replace the surrounding Cherita Starman in his place. Magician? Or wizards? Thor thought as he looked at Su-Yang's haunted scene. However, in this case, Thor is no longer allowed to think too much, because there are too many Cherita Starmen. However, perhaps because the slaughter of the two people had completely attracted the attention of the Cherita Starman, there should not be many giant beasts, and 5 of they actually came out at the same time in an instant. The sight of 5 giant beasts coming out of the portal stunned everyone. Eileen, is this Nimmer monster attacking the earth? Even the fleeing people froze where they were when they saw this scene. Mom, where's Ultraman? It's time to fight monsters. Doctor, we need you to wake up and close the portal immediately. No, then I can't imagine it. Even if Stark had confidence in Su-Yang, he began to worry when he saw the 5 giant beasts coming out at the same time. Eileen, give strength. Su-Yang's reaction was different from everyone's. They were afraid, while Su-Yang was excited. Yes, Su-Yang saw the behemoths, like he saw huge treasure chests, because he knew that, although the system's rewards were sometimes a little premeditated, they never let him down. It seems that the cosmic cube is a bit attractive to Cherita. The corners of Su-Yang's mouth suddenly set off a strange range, but I just don't know how much combat power they can put in. I hope they don't let me down. Banner, I think we might need you. Captain America looked at the sky and swallowed back before he finished speaking because the scene in the sky stunned him. Thank you for holding me some time ago and not letting me do something stupid. The Captain of the United States suddenly expressed his heartfelt thanks to Banner. Is he a god, or am I a god? Thor thought wordlessly next to him. Just when the 5 giant beasts came out, everyone's emotions were a little desperate. They suddenly found that a figure actually took the initiative to rush towards the 5 giant beasts. This figure was not even a small ant in front of the huge body of the 5 giant beasts, at most a speck of dust. But the next scene gave them a glimpse of the scene from Dust to Sandstorm room. Su-Yang shouted, doing his best to hold up the confined space to the maximum, barely including part of the 5 giant beasts into the scope of the space. The next magical scene was born. I saw that the bodies of the 5 giant beasts began to disappear, as long as they fell into Su-Yang's space and the like. The part of the body of the giant beast would be divided by Su-Yang using the surgical fruit, and then absorbed by the system point. But in the eyes of outsiders, it was just Su-Yang who approached the giant beast, and then the giant beast began to slowly disappear. This scene made all the Cherita Starmen who were still near the portal feel fear, and they began to want to return to the other side of the door and return to their home. However, the 5 giant beasts had almost occupied the space of the door, and their aggression blocked the path of the giant beast's progress, which gave Su-Yang more time to divide the giant beast step by step. However, because the behemoth was too big, and the armor outside the behemoth was too hard, even Su-Yang would need a while to divide the flesh part of the behemoth. At this time, there seemed to be some information on the other side of the door, and the Cherita troops, who were still messing up and wanted to go back just now, suddenly paused, followed by landings in all directions, directly avoiding Su-Yang in the front. Hey, Thor, don't be there. Help solve those little ones. Are you here to watch the play? Su-Yang looked at the thunder god on the side, and he was speechless when he looked at him alone to deal with all the Cherita Starmen. You are also a god. Did this scene scare you? I'm sorry. Thor was also a little embarrassed and could only cover up his embarrassment by killing minions. Although Thor has begun to help kill the Cherita Starmen that Su-Yang missed because there are still too many of them, Thor can't kill them at all. Suddenly, the Cherita Starmen, who had just scattered, turned around in unison and launched an energy attack against Su-Yang, wanting to liberate the giant beast. Originally, Su-Yang wanted to use the ability of the surgical fruit to dodge, but he suddenly remembered the situation when he faced the Burning Man mutant last time and finally chose to stand in place and bear it. Get out of the way. Thor on the side was also the target of the attack. He didn't dare to use his flesh to hard connect so many energy attacks. 1 or 2 were okay. So many energy shots came at the same time. He still chose to dodge very self-consciously. Ding. Energy absorption. At the same time as the system prompt sounded, Su-Yang's eyes emitted a strong light. Sure enough, the system didn't let me down. Su-Yang felt it slightly. It seems that, as long as the energy attacks within my tolerance range are ineffective against me, and not only are they ineffective, they seem to be helping me upgrade. Su-Yang paid attention to his experience bar and found that, since his level was many levels higher than the last time, although this time Cherita's energy attack was far stronger than the last Burning Man attack. However, in terms of the increase in the experience bar, it is not as fast as the last time. Kneel for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you. Guys, for more free Falu novels, https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 062. However, in terms of the increase in the experience bar, it is not as fast as the last time. Not enough, not enough. The intensity of such an attack is far from enough. Su-Yang suddenly looked in Thor's direction and shouted, "You don't have to help me, you go down and help them." Because he was worried about Su-Yang's safety, he was trying his best to help Su-Yang clean up the surrounding Cherita Star, and the Thunder God frowned and said, "Are you sure that a person can?" Although he was surprised that Su-Yang could actually shout vigorously after resisting such a strong attack, he still looked at the densely packed Cherita Starman and asked a little worriedly, "Of course, and don't you think you can't actually help me here?" In order to let Thunder God leave, Su-Yang deliberately provoked him with words. When Thor heard this, although he wanted to refute him, he saw that he really couldn't help anything, so he could only turn around and clean up the shrimp soldiers and crab generals below. At this time, the red skull that has been hiding near the cosmic cube is very embarrassing. Eileen, Master, although you are very awesome and pulling like this, but you have done all the work alone, and the others have nothing to do, and as a result, the whole team ran to my vicinity. How can I find an opportunity to do it? Ding, have you checked the news from the Red Skull? Su-Yang, who was enjoying it, suddenly heard this sentence. What? Can he still message me? Receive. However, Su-Yang quickly clicked receive, and then he heard the Red Skull's complaint and looked down at the location of the Red Skull. Sure enough, he discovers that Stark has been near him, trying to close the portal with his technology. Damn, I almost forgot to get down to business. It looks like I need to find them something to do. Su-Yang began to make an invincible gesture and slowly retreated. Thor, why did you come down? Didn't you call to help Su-Yang? Stark asked anxiously, after looking up and seeing Thor. He told me to come down, and he said it would be okay to be alone. Thunder God relayed Su-Yang's words. Damn it. Do you look at how he looks like he can? Hearing this, Thor turned his head to look at the sky. Lean. Just now it was obviously full of breath. However, he didn't have time to think about this, so he could only turn around again and rush towards the dense Cherita Starman troops. Has it reached its limit? Banner gasped and said, "It seems that I'm going to hand over control of my body. This feeling is really uncomfortable." Roar. After a loud roar, Banner transformed into the form of the Hulk for the first time since he started playing games in Su-Yang's Internet Café call. Suddenly, a whistling sound came from Su-Yang's ears, as if something had passed by his side at an extremely fast speed. Su-Yang fixed his eyes and found that a huge stone flew past him at a speed close to the speed of sound, directly hitting the head of the giant beast. Su-Yang turned his head and saw that it was the Hulk, who was too excited, grabbed a large stone and threw it in this direction. Depend. How did this monster come out? Su-Yang originally thought that after this period of strengthening, with his joining, Dr. Banner would not have to become the Hulk. You have to find him something to do, or you'll get in trouble with me. Su-Yang didn't want to clash with the Hulk now. Although he was confident to win, it didn't make any sense at all. Fortunately, Su-Yang had just finished dividing a giant beast, and a new giant beast immediately rushed out from the other side of the door. This time Su-Yang did not choose to include the new giant beast in the scope of space, because this would disrupt his plan. After all, he must now give people the feeling that he has reached the limit. And just as everyone struggled to fight the Cherita Starman on the secret base of S.H.I.E.L.D., another key plot had begun. Chief, your position has been cancelled. With such a sentence, Nick Fury found that the screen in front of him had gone black. Damn, if only Su-Yang could hold on for a little longer. Fortunately, Su-Yang received the information of the Red Skull, otherwise the direction of the plot would indeed change significantly, because when the high levels saw that Nick's Avengers plan almost all the aliens were resisted, it was impossible to have the idea of launching a nuclear bomb. Go and watch out for all the planes that want to take off. I don't allow any planes to take off right now, Nick ordered immediately. Report to the director. There are planes taking off on the runway. Damn it. Nick could only watch as the plane flew in the direction of New York. Stark, notice that an airplane is coming in your direction. Nick frantically shouted into the walkie-talkie. It's going to fire a nuclear bomb at New York. You guys find a way to get out of there. What? Damn it. Stark couldn't care about closing the portal. and now he had to choose to intercept the nuclear bomb as much as possible. Otherwise the whole of New York would be doomed. Stark passed the news to everyone, including Su Yang. System, can I send a message to the Red Skull? Su Yang asked quickly. Of course, you can just tell me now. Red Skull, listen, wait until a nuclear bomb comes, and you close the portal when I pass through that door with the nuclear bomb. The Red Skull, who had been hiding, was startled after hearing the voice, but he quickly recognized that it was Su Yang's voice, and he could only try to say in his heart, Master, is it you? How do you come back after you've passed? It's me. Wait a minute. You use Loki's scepter to close that door. Can you find that scepter now? I'll try. After the Red Skull finished speaking, he thought carefully. Just now Loki seems to have come out of the Stark mansion. That is, he doesn't seem to have a scepter in his hand. Then the scepter should be on it. Fortunately, during the mission, the Red Skull was able to use Su Yang's skills and directly came to the top floor of the Stark building without everyone noticing. There, the Red Skull saw the scepter that had been left on the ground at a glance. Master, I found it. Good. Now go to the cosmic cube and prepare. Waiting for my orders. Yes, Master. The Red Skull came to the side of the cosmic cube again. And this time Black Widow is going to deal with Hawkeye, who is still controlled, so no one will come to hinder him this time. System, how long will my body be able to survive within the blast range of a nuclear bomb? Su Yang had to ask this question clearly. If you use the Banshee Veil, it can be directly counteracted, and if you don't use it, you can survive for about 10 seconds, and after 10 seconds, the protagonist will be radiated and fall into a weak state. 10 seconds? Enough is enough. Su Yang laughed and said, System, are you interested in playing with me for a big time? For more free-for-loo novels, https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 063. 10 seconds? Enough is enough. Su Yang suddenly laughed and said, System, are you interested in playing with me for a big time? Soon after Stark discovered that he couldn't stop the bomb, he had a bold idea. Su Yang, can you clean up the Chirita Starman in the portal? I needed an unobstructed path through the portal. Stark asked anxiously. What do you want to do? Although Su Yang knew Stark's thoughts, he was still very impressed. Do you want to go over? Stark said in a joking tone. Since everyone else has come to the door, wouldn't it be rude if we didn't send some gifts in return? And Su Yang, don't you have a saying in the East that you don't come and go? Spread out. After hearing Stark's shout, Su Yang found Stark dragging a nuclear bomb and quickly approaching in his direction. Stark suddenly found that Su Yang did not dodge, but still stood in place and smiled at him. However, he didn't have time to think about the meaning of Su Yang's smile, and he quickly dragged the nuclear bomb past Su Yang's side. Jarvis, call me. Stark suddenly remembered the woman he had neglected because he had been surfing the internet and doing research lately. You better go and tell her yourself. Stark, who was inside the steel suit, suddenly heard a voice, and before he could react, he heard another room. He found that the scenery around him had changed, and what he saw near the door should have been dark universe, but now he saw blue sky and white clouds. When he came back to his senses, he finally remembered who the owner of the voice just now was, Su Yang. Stark looked up. Sure enough, the nuclear bomb was still the nuclear bomb. But the person under the nuclear bomb had changed, from him to Su Yang. No. Stark wanted to catch up with Su Yang and intercept him, but the Chirita Starman along the way kept stopping him, and he could only watch Su Yang drag the nuclear bomb away from him. This scene was also seen by everyone who was still in New York, and those who did not know Su Yang were wondering who this oriental face was, and those who knew Su Yang were shocked by Su Yang's approach. At a time when the whole of New York is in chaos, there is an area that is very strange, because if someone looks down from above, there is no police here, and there are no people running around, and a few Charitas will be quickly controlled by a group of well-trained people in an instant. Eileen, is that Boss Sue? Barney asked, pointing to the sky. It seems to be. Do you know him? An old man who seemed to be the highest ranking in the group asked. Grandpa, he is the worldly master I mentioned to you. David said to the old man very respectfully. Is it? I always thought you met a liar, and after you said it, I checked him. He seems to be just an ordinary internet cafe owner, and now it seems that you are indeed not lying. The old man's eyes narrowed and said, if he can come back alive this time, you will follow him well in the future, and all your expenses in the internet cafe can be reimbursed by your family. When David heard this, the whole person became excited. Really? Grandfather? In fact, his biggest problem now is to find a reason to go to the internet cafe. As the assessment time is getting closer and closer, the family has begun to control everyone's entry and exit. He can come out for 2 consecutive days because of his grandfather's love for him and everyone's neglect of him in the event of illness. Don't be happy too early. No matter how strong that person looks like this, he may not be able to come back. After the old man finished speaking, he left. Boss, you must come back alive. David didn't want to see the hope of healing just now, and it was gone. The Red Skull is now. Do it. Su Yang let out a low roar in his heart. No. Stark had been paying attention to Su Yang's movements, and he suddenly found that the portal that had not been closed just now suddenly closed. He returned to the location of the cosmic cube as quickly as possible, but what awaited him was the empty roof, and only Dr. Selvig lay quietly on it. Who is it? Who did this to you? Stark roared with red eyes. Is Stark the portal you closed? Su Yang is still on the other side of the door. Steve's voice also rang out from the intercom. No, it's not me. There are third parties present besides us. It was the portal that suddenly closed, while all of us were focused on Su Yang. Stark gritted his teeth and said, I will never let these rats go. You must know that Su Yang is already the hero of the entire New York in a sense, but the most important thing is that Su Yang takes his place, which is equivalent to saying that he is his lifesaver. If Su Yang died on the other side of the door like this, Stark would blame himself all. It seems that after this incident, we need to clear all the dark forces in New York. Steve also said fiercely. Stark, can you find the existence of the cosmic cube? Nick in the distance asked anxiously. Don't forget to use gamma rays. Can't find it. I tried it just now. Stark said coldly. This time the cosmic cube seems to be isolated by something, and there is no trace at all. Of course, they couldn't find the cosmic cube, because at this time the Red Skull had returned to the internet cafe, and because the system knew that the Red Skull was Su Yang's person, it was directly released. The inside of the internet cafe is already equivalent to an independent space, and any instruments and abilities outside cannot detect the things inside the internet cafe. Phew, it looks like he should have succeeded. After Su Yang turned his head and found that the portal had been closed, watch me perform next. Go. My nuclear bomb. Su Yang threw a nuclear bomb when he was about to reach the battleship of the Cherita Starman. Point boom. After a violent explosion, room. Su Yang's ability to use the surgical fruit instantly appeared at the center of the explosion, frantically collecting the parts that fell from the battleship after being blown up. And he also frantically divided the entire battleship. Ding, warning. Warn. The host is at the center of a strong energy rage. Please leave as soon as possible. Please leave as soon as possible. Su Yang was already mentally prepared for this, and while frantically counting the time in his heart, he was also frantically dividing the battleship. Suddenly, a majestic figure on a huge and magnificent stone seat looked in the direction where Su Yang was. It's a little interesting. Kneel for subscription favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 064. Suddenly, a majestic figure on a huge and magnificent stone seat looked in the direction where Su Yang was. It's a little interesting. Master, what's wrong? An alien creature who looked like the Cherita Starman, but was much larger, lowered his head and said respectfully, you must know that the Cherita Starman is also a strong planetary creature in the universe, not to mention the existence of the leader, but in front of the creature on the throne, he does not even dare to raise his head. It looks like a bug came from the other side of the door. Yes, it seems to be the so-called strongest single weapon on their Earth. The name is nuclear bomb. Cherita Starman still lowered his head and said, no, the bug I'm talking about is a human, and he's on your battleship right now, which seems to be interesting. The throne suddenly began to move. Su Yang had completely caught his attention point at this time. Su Yang, who was frantically dividing the battleship, seemed to have found no trace of him under the cover of the ravages formed by the nuclear bomb. There are still 2 seconds to go, and I have to leave. Su Yang estimated the time and said to the system, "Quick, I want to teleport. The target is the Internet Café." After speaking, Su Yang's surroundings began to emit purple light. And as the purple light became more and more intense, Su Yang's figure became lighter and lighter. Want to go? The figure on the throne saw that Su Yang seemed to have signs of escape, and the gloved hand sent out an energy impact, hoping to block Su Yang who wanted to escape. Warning. Warn. Subjected to a lock by an unknown energy body. The attack will arrive in 2 seconds. Please prepare the host. The system's prompt tone pulled Su Yang, who was immersed in the ecstasy of harvest, back to reality. What? What energy attack is so strong? Aren't you able to absorb it? Su Yang was stunned, knowing that the teleportation time was not only 2 seconds. Warning, this attack far exceeds the limit that the host can absorb. It is recommended that the host start the special effect of the Banshee Veil. Is it turned on? Of course it's on. I don't want to die yet. Su Yang turned his head and looked in the direction of the source of the attack. I would like to see who is attacking me. Then Su Yang found that he was actually worried when he came over. Eileen, Thanos is really here. In fact, when Su Yang was watching the movie before crossing, he was guessing that Thanos was not here at that time, and he seemed to see Thanos' figure in the Easter egg, but he couldn't confirm it. However, Su Yang's worried mood stabilized after glancing at the teleportation time and instead shouted seductively at Thanos' index finger of his right hand, "Come here." Thanos found that his attack obviously hit Su Yang, but Su Yang was actually like a nobody point. It was the first time that Thanos had encountered an existence that could catch his attack so lightly, and he hesitated slightly, only to find that Su Yang was provoking him. Thanos frowned and thought, where did he get his confidence? But when he was preparing to teach Su Yang a lesson in his next attack, due to his hesitation just now, Su Yang had disappeared in front of his eyes in a cloud of purple light. However, this light was invisible to him, and in his eyes, Su Yang just hooked his finger and disappeared directly. It's funny, we'll meet again next time we have a chance. Thanos looked in the direction of the earth and said. At this time, in the Miracle Internet Cafe in New York, a figure suddenly appeared next to the Red Skull. "Host, welcome back," the Red Skull said with a shocked look. He obviously saw Su Yang enter the portal. It should be in the universe far away, but he didn't expect that he would return to the net in an instant after just a few minutes. You know, he didn't have long to arrive. What an exciting adventure. I didn't expect to meet Thanos in teleportation. Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief and then said, but Thanos is really strong. A random blow actually exceeded my energy absorption limit. You must know that just now I was attacked by so many Character Starmen at the same time. It is far from my limit. Su Yang sincerely felt the strength of Thanos this time. Did you get your stuff? Su Yang looked at the Red Skull and asked expectantly. Of course, the master pleases. The Red Skull took out the scepter behind him and the cosmic cube and said, finally got these 2 things. It really took me a lot of effort. Su Yang took 2 things and said, system, take it. I hope you don't let me down. Ding, the system is in the process of being upgraded, during which the host will have full jurisdiction over the Internet Cafe. Sep, just took something and left. Su Yang was stunned. He originally thought that he could get the benefits given by the system. After all, he had already paid his life in order to be able to complete the task perfectly. Eileen, you're not a pet daddy. Su Yang cursed in a low voice. What is it to leave Leo TZU with the full jurisdiction of an internet cafe? However, in the face of Su Yang's swearing, the system did not respond at all. Depend. This dog forced the system to pet me like this. Looking at Su Yang, who was scolding and was obviously very emotional, the Red Skull obediently stayed on the side and did not say a word. Damn, I'm tired today. I'll take you to kill zombies to improve your strength. You're too weak now. Su Yang said to the red skeleton. It seems that you haven't played the Internet Cafe game yet, right? Yes, master. Well, Since you are my little brother, then I won't charge you money. Go find a machine and sit down." Then, under the guidance of Suyang, the Red Skull smoothly entered the world of survival. Alas, the road to survive after the system revision has indeed become a lot more difficult, but I still miss a little nostalgic that, even if there were only 2 people playing in the past, I would match 2 computers for you to form a 4-player mode, and it was really fun to have more people. Knock knock. Just after Suyang complained, 2 figures suddenly appeared beside him. "Eileen, what's the situation?" Suyang was a little confused by the 2 people who suddenly appeared. Wait, is this the full jurisdiction of the Internet Cafe that the system just said? Suyang suddenly thought of this, and then he tried to think again. If only I could take leaking to play this game. Sure enough, with a brush, the 2 figures beside Suyang all turned into leaking's appearance. I rely on it. It's really okay, but I just don't know if the skill is still there. Suyang tried to let Leaking single out a zombie point, then Suyang was stunned by the scene in front of him, because Leaking actually kicked a zombie to death with a direct long-range attack with a heavenly sound wave. I rely on, give strength. This is a way to survive the League of Legends war. Kneel for subscription favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you, guys, for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 065. I rely on, give strength. This is a way to survive the League of Legends war. Suyang, who was originally very upset by the sudden disappearance of the system, began to become excited. I rely on, is the full jurisdiction of the Internet Cafe so powerful? Suyang started some commotion again. You can actually let the games and the Internet Cafe mess in. I don't know if that's okay. Suyang suddenly had a bold idea in his heart. Come out, bombing zone. Suyang stretched out his hands and shouted. But he waited for a while, and there was no movement, but his shouting attracted many zombies wandering around. Eileen, how can it be useless? Is it my delusion? Suyang looked at the 2 blind monks next to him who were doing their best to protect him and said, but the fact that the 2 eldest brothers are still by my side proves that it is not an illusion just now. Is it because of the Internet Cafe doesn't have a game PUBG yet, so I can't summon the bombing zone inside? Suyang originally wanted to summon a bombing area so that killing zombies would be easy and fast. Then try this again. Suyang tried to shout again. Come out, my little Yan Emperor. Then Suyang's gaze stared at the 2 blind monks fighting with the zombies, and sure enough, after a while, one of the 2 blind monks began to change point. The image of the blind monk slowly transformed into the image of Xiao Yan in the novel. Haha, it really can. It seems that it is not wrong with my guess. The full jurisdiction of the Internet Cafe means that now, as long as it is something in the Internet Cafe, I can get it as I want. Suyang, who laughed, looked like a child. This function is not bad. When the system is upgraded, let him reward me with this ability as a task. Next, Suyang slowly began all the commotion in his mind point, and the Red Skull looked at Suyang, who had forgotten him on the side, and was roaring wildly next to him. He actually sometimes wondered what kind of person Suyang was. He can sometimes arrange a plan perfectly, such as letting him guard the cosmic cube, and even arrange the place and time for him, which makes him very impressed. Sometimes he completely behaves like a child, making him unpredictable. But what the Red Skull didn't know was that arranging for him to guard the cosmic Rubik's Cube was not, strictly speaking, Suyang's plan at all, just because Suyang knew the plot and let him go ahead in advance. Time passed slowly in Suyang's carnival. Soon it was noon the next day. A lot of people came outside the door of the Internet Cafe as usual. Iron Man, you all came over. Does it mean that Boss Suyang is also back? David, Clark and Benny, who had been guarding the doorway, had begun to despair slowly as time passed. Suddenly looked up and saw Stark, and they also came to the Internet Cafe, thinking that Suyang had returned. Haven't opened the door yet. Instead of turning back to David's question, Stark asked if the cafe was open. Not yet, we've been waiting since the morning. Hearing Stark's question, David's eyes, which alive had just emitted a strong light, instantly lost their brilliance and dimmed down. It seems that it really can't come back. Banner stepped forward and patted Stark's shoulder to comfort. Let's go. We can only choose to help Boss Sue take revenge. We can't let him die so unjustly. crunch just as everyone turned around and prepared to leave the door of the internet cafe. Suddenly the internet cafe opened. "Hey, why are you all here? It's noon, so you won't be waiting outside." Suyang, who was just tired of playing, saw that the time was almost noon, so he quickly came out to open the door, only to see that everyone was just about to leave. "Did you hear that?" Stark's voice trembled a little and asked. I seem to have heard Suyang's voice. Then Stark slowly turned around, and then he saw Suyang standing at the door with a tired expression. "Is it really you, Boss Su?" Stark said with some disbelief. "You're not talking nonsense, isn't it? Who else can I walk out of the internet cafe?" Suyang said angrily. "Do you want to come in? I closed the door without coming in, and I just wanted to sleep." In. Banner beckoned everyone and headed to the internet cafe. "Boss Su, how did you come back?" Banner asked curiously. Hearing this, everyone also looked at Suyang in unison, hoping that Suyang could give a reasonable answer. "That's how I came back. I came back from the door after I put that nuclear bomb in." Suyang said, "Of course. Impossible." Steve said categorically. "At that time, we all saw the portal closed, and we didn't see you return." "Where did you look?" Suyang asked rhetorically. "Well, on the ground. That's your eyesight. I'm obviously back. You may need to wear glasses." "What? How could I?" Steve was interrupted before he could speak. "Yes, I was the closest at the time, and I actually saw a dark shadow fall out of the door, just as it was about to be closed." Stark continued. "It's just that I was in a hurry to check the situation of the cosmic cube, so I didn't look carefully." "Tony, you..." Nick wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Banner, who shook his head and said, "Does it matter how he came back? It is enough for us to know that he is our friend, and who in this room does not have a little secret of their own?" Everyone thought about it, and they never asked this question again. By the way, do you want to try a new version of the game?" Just when the atmosphere was more awkward, Suyang suddenly broke the awkward atmosphere and said with a mysterious smile, "I promise it's a brand new version that you haven't played." "Boss, is there a new game again?" everyone asked excitedly. No, there are no new games, just updated the old games. How can the new games come out so quickly?" Suyang came up with a new game, but the system didn't give it. "What's the new trick?" everyone asked curiously. There are many tricks, such as the League of Legends version of the Road to Survival. Have you played the Road to Survival version of League of Legends? Has the Grim Reaper Avid Zombies played? Reaper vs. League of Legends played? These are just some of them. There are more exciting new tricks waiting for you. Want to try? Suyang said that in the end, even he himself became excited. Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 066. Have you played the Road to Survival version of League of Legends? Has the Grim Reaper Avid Zombies played? Reaper vs. League of Legends played? These are just some of them. There are more exciting new tricks waiting for you. Want to try? Suyang said that in the end, even he himself became excited. What did you just say? People can't believe their ears, knowing that these games have reached a top level in their own technology. Not to mention that these games in Suyang's mouth now are obviously fusing several games together. Everyone began to look forward to it. Quick, the boss will show us. Everyone seemed a little impatient, and the Black Widow and Hawkeye on the side looked a little confused. Because what death, what way to survive, and what League of Legends, these words they have never heard. Not to mention uniting them, but seeing everyone's excited looks, they began to wonder what these things were. There are two new people. After everyone entered the internet cafe, Suyang noticed that there were actually two new faces. However, the so-called new faces are only for their first time in the internet cafe, and for their faces, Suyang has seen them, I don't know how many times. Black Widow and Hawkeye? Do you know us? The originally curious Black Widow and Hawkeye frowned at Suyang at the same time, and then looked at Nick. They originally thought that Nick told Suyang, but they were also surprised to see Nick, and they knew that Nick had not mentioned them to Suyang at all. No, how can you not know? However, Suyang didn't have more explanations. His mind was still on leading everyone to try new things. Let's go, Suyang. He knows nothing strange. All of us present he recognized the first time we met. No need to fuss. Banner suddenly walked up to the two and said, "No, the three of us boss Sue didn't recognize it." Barney pointed to the three of them and said, "You're silly, you." Clark pointed to Banner and they pointed to the three of them. "What is the identity of the others? What is your identity? You don't have a BN mind? Come here." Suyang stood in front of the computer and greeted everyone, and then put on a helmet, and said to Mariah, "Come, lady first, let you experience the new version first. I'm a woman too." Black Widow stepped forward in disbelief. She had never seen any man who could ignore her presence. "I'll try it too. Whatever you want." Suyang didn't care about this, and then said to everyone, "There is still a place on the road to survive. Which of you will come?" "I'll come. I'd love to try the new version," the boss said. Stark stepped forward and said, "Everyone has no opinion on this. After all, usually in these places, Stark takes more care of everyone. Ready, let's go in." After Suyang finished speaking, he clicked to start the game. The dark night sky, the miserable white moonlight, the cold wind, it's all telling Black Widow that she's in a real world. Boss, nothing new. Those who have already played a few times first carefully observed the next 4 weeks, but did not notice any new changes. No hurry, let's first say what hero you want to play the most in League of Legends? Suyang asked unhurriedly. "I actually want to play Timo, it looks cute." Mariah quickly thought of the Timo that Suyang showed last time in order to show off his all heroes, and she instantly liked Timo's cute appearance. "I'd rather try Rambo's. I think the mecha he controls is quite interesting." Stark also spoke his mind. "Are you going to be like Mariah?" Suyang turned his head to look at Black Widow because she hadn't played it. Suyang directly helped her make a decision. "Then it's time to witness a miracle." Suyang smiled mysteriously and then closed his eyes mysteriously. The three people who had been expecting something to happen found that there was no movement around them at all. "Boss, what do you mean by the question you just asked us?" Black Widow asked curiously. "I don't know. Stark, do you know? How did you get so big?" As she spoke, Mariah suddenly noticed that Stark had become huge. "No, it doesn't seem that you have become bigger. It is me who has become smaller. What the hell is going on?" Mariah panicked a little, and then she looked up to ask Stark for help, only to find Stark looking at her with a shocked expression. Timo. What Timo? Where is Timo? No, it's not. I mean you became Timo." Stark finally spoke out in full. "What? I became?" Mariah, who was speaking, suddenly covered her mouth with her hand because she noticed that her voice became strange. Then she seemed to remember something, looked at the Black Widow. Sure enough, the Black Widow had disappeared, and the one who appeared in front of her was a Timo. Wow, so cute. It turns out that the question that the boss just asked us is this meaning, turn us into our favorite heroes. I seem to be starting to change too. Look at me. Stark next to him also began to find that his gaze seemed to change, and he knew that he should have begun to transform as well. How? Is it fun? Suyang's figure suddenly appeared beside the three. Is it a brand new version? Boss, is this just a change in appearance, or have we really become heroes in League of Legends? The kind that can use skills? Stark asked suspiciously. After all, if it was just a change in appearance, it was actually completely meaningless. Just try it yourself. Suyang said with a smile. Yes. Stark felt his body, and then he felt that there were suddenly a few more button-like things in his mind. QWER. What is it? Is it a skill? Stark tried to imagine himself clicking Q. Sure enough, Stark's mech suddenly spewed out flames. Eileen, I can really use it. Haha, this is a complete slaughter. Is that okay? I'll try it too. Mariah tried to imagine herself ordering out a build, only to see Mariah's Timo suddenly throw out a mushroom. Wow, this skill is too cute. Watching the two of them playing there is actually a bit of a stunner, because she doesn't know what to do. Neil for subscription favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. Chapter 068. to know that the reason why which has become a headache for players, the main thing is her setting. Basically touch you, and you are gone. Well, after being hit by Tomo's blinding glowing arrow, her setting is equivalent to being destroyed, and now it can only be a target-like existence. It's up to us, Stark said to Witch, who was yelling, after listening to Mariah's explanation. The next result is obvious. Since Mariah and Black Widow are both Tomo, they are almost infinitely blinded, and even a little free time in the middle will be slowed down by Stark's arson feast and the mushrooms that the two have planted in advance. Damn, finally dead. I didn't expect that when this monster is set so strongly, the speed is fast, and there is not a lot of blood at all. Stark couldn't help but think that, if it weren't for Tomo who both Mariah and Black Widow chose today, it is estimated that the three of them would have turned into cold corpses by now. Let's go out. Now if we meet her, we won't panic at all. It seems that the new things that Boss Sue said are more general. Stark began to skin again. Very average. Huh. I hope you can laugh out loud and wait. The corner of Su Yang's mouth in the distance set off a strange range. This next thing is not something that you can solve by blinding. Hey, this new version that Boss Sue said looks so cool. Do you want us to open a computer and try it ourselves? Barney, who was watching behind Su Yang and the four of them, said itchingly. Because they have been watching it for a long time in the back, but because they are too fascinated to watch and forget the time, especially the time when Witch came out, not to mention the Stark and the three of them in the game. Even those of them who watched outside nervously forgot to breathe. Can we drive it ourselves? David said hesitantly, because he remembered that in the early days of the game, it was Su Yang who asked Stark first about them, and then the game began to change. In other words, Su Yang is the so-called new version, and the game without Su Yang has not changed at all. Try it, it's a waste of time just looking here anyway. Barney was eager to try. Then try it. If it doesn't work, just quit immediately. I don't want to waste precious time online. Clark hesitated and then said, okay. For the three young people to try. Six, Nick and Banner next to them just looked at it and didn't pay attention anymore. Because they know very well that the changes in the game must be made by Su Yang, otherwise Su Yang does not have to enter the game by himself. They then turned their gaze to Stark's computer screen and watched intently as they noticed that Stark seemed to have encountered a new monster. Eileen, what kind of monster is this? This light looks like an ordinary zombie from the outside, which is not a level at all. Stark and the three of them looked at a huge monster in front of them and said Tank, a type of special infection, is extremely large and strong, with extremely thick arms and extremely high attack power and health. In addition to punching attacks, Tank will also dig through the ground to create cement, rubble, and large stones to still throw, and if hit, it will cause damage and fall to the ground. Don't worry, let's arrange the terrain first. Because Tank's appearance was not deceitful, they had already begun to prepare after seeing Tank from a distance. Black Widow and Mariah used Tomo's big trick, growing mushrooms, and had already laid out the mine array in advance, and the next step was Stark's seduction stage. Stark originally wanted to look at the distance and slowly approach the extreme harpoon attack distance to attract Tank's attention, but before he could reach the effective distance of the harpoon, Tank had already discovered him. Raw. Tank roared and rushed at him. Eileen, so active? Stark wanted to slow down the Tank with the harpoon skill, then turned around, and a broken shield, to accelerate into the minefield that Black Widow had laid out in advance. But what he didn't expect was that Tank seemed to be huge, but the speed of charging was not slow at all. Damn, how is it so fast? But fortunately, Leotzu was mentally prepared. Stark controlled Rambo and rolled on the spot to dodge Tank's attack. Boo boo. A series of explosions followed, and Tank, due to his huge size, had almost all the mushrooms triggered the moment he entered the minefield. You're not dead yet? Stark, who was on the side, looked at the place where fireworks seemed to be set off and smiled. Raw. But Tank's blood was so thick that he didn't die, but instead roared and dug the ground, lifted a rock and smashed it at Stark on the side. Eileen on, is it so meaty? Stark has killed a large number of zombies and witches in front of him, so his physical fitness and speed have improved a lot. Maybe the running speed is not as fast as Tank's charge, but when it comes to dodging, Stark plus his experience is completely fine. Soon, Stark was behind Black Widow and another minefield that Mariah had prepared to face Tank. Come on. This time let's see if you die first or I die first. Stark saw that his big move was already in a cooling state, so he planned to fight a wave. He watched as Tank couldn't hit due to ranged attacks and finally chose to charge him again. However, this time, Stark did not choose to dodge or escape, but stood in place. Come and give you a red carpet. Stark unleashed his big move between him and Tank, constant temperature burning. Come on. Stark roared with all firepower. Quickly put himself into a red warm state to see who fell first between him and the charging Tank, while Black Widow and Mariah on the side were also contributing. Crazy through his big move between the two, growing mushrooms, hoping to slow down Tank's charge a little. The final result is obvious, because the previous wave of mine arrays has already caused more damage, and then eat Rambo's whole set of tricks and another wave of mine array damage. Even Tank can't withstand such a toss, so he died gloriously on the way to the charge. Woo, this big guy's really meat. Stark looked at Tank, who was less than a centimeter away from him, and said, if he can hold on for another second, it feels like the one who fell to the ground will become me. Awesome. I didn't expect that Rambo with Timo's plastic surgery would actually have such an effect on the road to survive, which was completely unexpected to me. Su Yang didn't expect Stark, and they could solve Tank so easily. Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 069. Awesome. I didn't expect Rambo to be able to play such an effect on the road to survive with Timo's Lanoop. This result was completely unexpected. Su Yang really didn't expect Stark and them to solve Tank so easily. He originally thought that, even if Tank could not solve all three of them, at least one of them should be solved, but he did not expect that the three who had never played Rambo and Timo could cooperate so tacitly. Ding, it's time for online gaming. Stark, Black Widow, and Mariah didn't have long to be happy, and as a result, they were directly kicked out of the game by the system. Wow, no, it feels like we're just starting to play. Stark said after taking off his helmet and looking at everyone with a surprised expression. Yes, I'm just getting started to get caught up in the game. Black Widow's face was unfinished. She really felt the charm of the game. Plus when killing the zombie, Mariah also explained to her the effect of the heat flow generated by her body, which was also a point that completely shocked her. Now she finally found the reason why everyone became strange. Because before the end of the Battle of New York, although she had been entangled with Hawkeye in the two, she occasionally paid attention to the fighting situation of others. She discovered that Dr. Banner, who can usually be said to be powerless in front of her, can actually fight aliens with Captain America under normal circumstances. There is also the fact that the strength of the Captain of the United States has increased significantly. Also after the Battle of New York, she cooperated with Iron Man, Captain America and Thor, a total of 4 people, to directly forcibly knock Hawkeye unconscious and bring him back to the base of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then, after recovering from it, Hawkeye also told her about Mariah and Nick's strange condition. Hawkeye is directly saying the current words. In terms of light wheel physical fitness, he is no longer even comparable to Mariah. But he has never found the reason. Black Widow originally thought that S.H.I.E.L.D's research on the Cosmic Cube helped them improve their physical fitness, but now it seems that it is completely because of Su Yang's Internet Café. Boss Su, can you let me play a little longer? When Black Widow realized that Su Yang was the key point, she knew that, as long as Su Yang was taken, what to improve her strength was a trivial matter. The most important thing was that Su Yang was a man, and in the eyes of Black Widow, there were few men who could resist her temptation. Actually, I wanted to, but what? Su-Yang looked at the graceful figure of the Black Widow who took the initiative to sit on his lap. If he hadn't learned about the Black Widow's style in the Marvel world in advance, he would actually be very willing to be with the beautiful woman of the Black Widow. However, when Su-Yang crossed the front, his most fortunate sentence was, if there is a bargain, it is one big. So Su-Yang did not resist Black Widow's behavior towards him. He naturally pointed to Nick behind them and said, "This is the rule of the Internet Cafe, and this rule cannot be broken. I don't believe you ask them." Of course, Black Widow knows this rule, and when they just played, Mariah had already told her some basic information about this Internet Cafe, but she felt that, since Su-Yang was the owner of the Internet Cafe, any rules in the Internet Cafe should be formulated by Su-Yang, so the maker had the right to change. But maybe she wouldn't have thought that there was still a system in this world. Yes, this rule cannot be broken. Mariah really couldn't stand the Black Widow who kept complaining about Su-Yang, stepped forward and lifted the Black Widow from Su-Yang's leg, and then said, "Let Boss Su take us to feel the new versions of the other two games. I think everyone can't wait." Although Mariah's reasons were very good, everyone could feel something, but they could only smile, and did not intend to do anything. "Yes, Su-Yang, I wonder if the new versions of the other two games are also a mix of this kind of game?" Banner guessed uncertainly. "Oh, you're smart. So which of you wants to try a different League of Legends?" Su-Yang said to everyone with a smile. "I'll do it." Nick took the initiative to step forward and said that he had just been waiting for 4 hours. He was already impatient, and he was eager to experience it himself. We will come too." Barney, David, and Clark, who were trying on their own, found that without Su-Yang, they were playing no different from before. Although the game itself is also very attractive, since there is a new version, it is definitely the new version that is more attractive, at least before playing. So they quit the game as soon as possible, just in time for this point in time. Decide for yourselves. After Su-Yang finished speaking, he turned around. "I don't care. Hawkeye doesn't matter. After all, for him, who hasn't even played the old version, it's no bad when to play. Anyway, it's all about experiencing something new. Then you guys go. I'll take a look first." Compared with the two games of Road to Survival and League of Legends, Banner is actually looking forward to the game of death. And the captain of the United States will definitely not fight with others for the problem. By the way, in fact, when you are playing Survival Road, if you want to play a new version, I can help you set it up. Su-Yang seemed to suddenly remember what he said. "What?" Steve asked. "Is that so? If you can experience it in advance, it is estimated that no one is willing to wait. Not to mention that compared to League of Legends, he actually prefers the Road to Survival. So which of you wants to try it?" Su-Yang looked at the three people who had not played yet and said, "I'd better take a look first." Hawkeye said he still wanted to see more. "Me too." Banner also said to take another look. "I'll try." Steve said he wanted to try it alone. "Are you alone?" Su-Yang touched his chin and thought, "Since you're alone, let's try something new." Su-Yang looked at Steve and said with bright eyes. Then Su-Yang took Steve into the virtual world of the Road to Survive. "I want Bloom." After coming in, Steve immediately expressed that the hero he wanted was Bloom because he thought Bronze Shield was a bit cool. "Hey, boss, do you hear that?" After Steve finished speaking, he found that Su-Yang was still standing there dumbfounded, not saying anything, and he repeated his words again. Kneel for subscription favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you guys for more free follow novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 070. "Hey, boss Su-Yang, did you hear what I said?" After Steve finished speaking, he found that Su-Yang was still standing there dumbfounded, not saying anything. He could only repeat his words again. "Good luck then, Captain America." Steve waited for a long time and suddenly waited for such a sentence. He was actually a little confused. "What do you mean?" Steve hoped that Su-Yang could give him an answer, but at this time, Su-Yang was actually hanging up because he himself had left the computer and directly changed to the middle of the four of them who were still waiting. "This is Zio Yan inside Dalpio." Banner, who had been watching behind his back, said hesitantly. because in fact, when they watch the novel of Breaking the Sky, in fact, their perspective after entering the world is subjective from Xiao Yan's own perspective point, so they have never seen Xiao Yan's own image point, and the main reason why Banner has this speculation is that he is too unfamiliar with Steve's current image point, neither the costume of the God of Death, nor any hero in the League of Legends. Then only Xiao Yan in the firmament remains. Is this the protagonist in that vindictive world? Steve made the same guess. Wow, no, I remember he's rubbish now. Steve remembered what he had seen. I'm leaning on it. Let me be his words. It's better to let me use my own image. Oh, let's try it first. Steve also has no choice. After all, Su Yang has already withdrawn, and it is estimated that he has already taken others to play League of Legends, and now even if he quits the game to find it, it will be very troublesome. Steve found a stick nearby, and he walked lightly on the road to find the single zombie. Count you out of luck. Steve soon sees two zombies next to an abandoned house, but there is actually some distance between the two zombies. At this distance, it should be possible to finish off before another one arrives. Steve tightened the stick in his hand, and then took advantage of the darkness and the bunker next to the road to slowly approach the abandoned house. Roar. Just when Steve wanted to sneak up on his back and hit him fatally, the zombie suddenly turned around and found him. However, with a loud roar, "You want to attack him?" Steve was already prepared and directly thought of the zombie's head with a stick. However, a scene that Steve did not expect appeared because he only thought of attacking zombies in his mind at that time and did not think about anything else. And when he attacked, he suddenly felt a force emerge from his body, and this force had already been felt in virtual time when he watched the novel Dao Po. Is this vindictiveness? Steve muttered. At this time, Steve noticed that his stick had changed, as if a layer of energy was wrapping it, and a sharp light appeared at the end of the stick point with a tearing sound. Steve found that where his stick passed, the zombie was directly split in half from the beginning point. This scene also caught Steve off guard, and he was directly stunned in place, and at this time, the zombies on the other side had rushed in front of him. The zombie's blood bit Steve's neck. There was a click, as if something had broken. Listening to the sound and smelling the fishy smell in the zombie's mouth, Steve came back to his senses and then found that after the zombie next to him bit his neck, not only did he have nothing, but the zombie's teeth were broken by the zombie itself. Is this vindictiveness? Steve laughed excitedly. Haha, I must study how to cultivate this power. Then Steve tried to control the power that appeared in his body to cover his palm, and then the zombie who had lost his teeth and was still doing his duty wholeheartedly to bite Steve's neck, smashed half of the zombie's face with a palm. Is this the power of vindictiveness? After seeing Steve become Xiao Yan in the rear, Banner directly gave up Nick, and they called a new version of the League of Legends viewing experience. He observed Steve's behavior wholeheartedly because he was also very curious about the power of vindictiveness, knowing that he was also the first person to propose it and wanted to master it. Now he is also conquered by the power of Daoki, not only attacking. Daoki is also a good hand in protection point. However, the fighting spirit is as limited as the amount of blue in League of Legends. So after Steve was wild for a while, he found himself in an embarrassing realm point. He found that he was no blue, and he lost his fighting spirit, and he attracted a lot of zombies at the same time due to the previous expansion. I lean on. It seems that the shortcomings of vindictiveness are also obvious. Steve said with a wry smile as he looked at the number of zombies he had attracted, as if they had entered the train station. This is not at all like the Oriental said, that the breath is long and endless. However, before the fighting key was exhausted, Steve also killed enough zombies, so at this time, although he was already deep in the sea of zombies, because Su Yang did not prepare special gifts such as Witch and Tank Point, if it's just some ordinary zombies, even if there are more of them, Steve can still maneuver around for a long time with his fighting ability, but the speed of killing is much inferior compared to before point and after Banner, who had been watching from outside at this time, watched Steve's fighting spirit run out. He knew that there was nothing to see next, so he shifted his position and went to watch next so-called new version of League of Legends. Eileen, what the hell is this little soldier? Banner, who had just come over, was stunned just by looking at the small soldier. Is this Malay soldier a zombie in the road to survive? And, what the hell is this hero? This is obviously the tank that Stark just met on the road to survive. Banner saw that the hero controlled by Nick on the red side was actually the tank they had just met, and then the most annoying thing was that the minions on the line where Nick was in had all changed. All of them have become zombies in the road to survival, and the most terrifying thing is that they all retain the characteristics of zombies. That is, when they kill the local minions, the enemy minions will be infected and then become their allies. To help them fight, then Banner found that Nick only had to stand on the road, and then the enemy line basically kept slowly consuming the health of enemy heroes and defense towers under the enemy tower. Kneel for subscription favoritive Aloshan reward floor worst thank you. For more free follow novels, https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. Chapter 071. Then Banner found that Nick only had to stand on the road, and then the enemy line basically kept slowly consuming the health of enemy heroes and defense towers under the enemy tower. Nick only needs to use skills such as tank stone throwing to help with consumption in the back. Then the computer had to be on its way home and online. Due to Su Yang's hang up, Nick was completely alone on the road, but he was the first to break the defense tower in the audience. I didn't expect that the characteristics of zombies in the road to survive are so powerful in League of Legends. Nick studied tank skills and gameplay in League of Legends while enjoying the thrill of leveling up. It seems that this tank, as its name suggests, is completely a piece of meat. Nick looked at the 4 skills after tank arrived in League of Legends, and there were almost no output skills, all of which were the kind of skills that reduced control or increased their own openness. For example, tank has a big move, evolution point. Nick was still looking forward to this big move, but after he used it, he found that it was just a change in size and some details. For example, the color of the skin has become darker, and the hair has disappeared directly. The name has also changed, and there is an additional second generation word after tank point, and the skills that the system gives tank in League of Legends are also very simple, which are changed according to the way of survival. For example, Q. It's a collision point. W. Increases your movement speed when running towards a local hero with residual blood. And increases your movement speed when taking damage from persistent skill. Z. It's exactly the same as Q. When Na gets bigger. R. What I just said is to transform into the second generation of tank point passive. It is to transform the minions near you into minions with zombie characteristics. Banner, who was standing behind Nick, briefly understood tank's skills, and then turned to look at the other people's computer screens. How? Doesn't it look interesting? After Su Yang took off his helmet, he looked at the game on the screen with a satisfied look and said, "Well, how do you say it?" Banner said helplessly, "Boss, these games are already very interesting for us. After all, everyone has just started to play, and you have suddenly changed so much now. In fact, it is also a new game for us. Lean, almost forgot that you haven't even played the original for long. It's not interesting. It's not interesting." Su Yang was originally quite satisfied with his changes, but listening to Banner's analysis, he remembered that the current world was not his previous world. The game League of Legends is a brand new game for the Marvel Universe itself, and no matter how he changes it, he can't find anyone who understands his joy. You must know that when League of Legends was hot at that time, the most chatted between Su Yang and his classmates and brothers was, if only one hero's skill could be changed to another skill. This topic evolved to the end and suddenly became to set up a hero yourself, or to set up a hero with some super popular characters as a model point. So at that time, there was a game called 300 Heroes on the internet, which is a variety of super popular characters for the hero model of League of Legends. At that time, Su Yang had also played this game many times. Alas, you dirt buns can't experience my happiness at all. Su Yang, who was originally in a good mood, sighed and went to see how the captain of the United States used Zhao. As a result, he found that the captain of the United States, after his fighting spirit was exhausted, was fighting with the zombies. Eileen, it doesn't make sense. How can there be no fighting spirit? Is it because I quit the game? So Zhao, the captain of the United States, has also lost his ability. This is not the reason why you are not in the game. It is that he himself was too excited just now, causing his fighting spirit to run out, so he can only fight zombies hand to hand now. Banner came over and explained. Then Banner continued, "Boss, since you don't have anything to do right now, why don't you help me experience a new game?" Soo-Yang looked at the other people who were playing intently and said, "Okay, what game do you want to play?" Banner said word for word, "Death God." After listening to Banner say the name of the game, Soo-Yang was not surprised at all, because he could see from the beginning that, although Banner was also very interested in other games, his most important thing was death. "I knew you were waiting for this, but the game of death is, because it is a story game." Soo-Yang frowned and said, "So I don't know how to change it." It is true that last night, after Soo-Yang finished his own change of League of Legends and the Road to Survival, he also tried the Grim Reaper, but this is a plot mode, and he found that there were too few things he could change. But fortunately, Soo-Yang still has a free mode option, so when he plays Death later, he basically plays in free mode. As soon as he heard Soo-Yang's words, Banner was a little depressed. "Then you mean that the god of death has not changed much?" He waited for so long because he wanted to wait for a new god of death, but now Soo-Yang told him that there was actually no change, which made him very irritable. Soo-Yang looked at the depressed Banner and was a little unbearable. He thought about it and said, "Or do you tell me how to change it? Then I'll see if I can do it." Hearing this, Banner's eyes emitted a strong light and said, "Really? Of course, you think slowly first." After Soo-Yang finished speaking, he left Banner alone to meditate in place. "Hey, how's it going? Which game are you particularly interested in?" Soo-Yang walked to Hawkeye's side and said, "To be honest, both are particularly interested." Hawkeye said sincerely, "But can I try the original survival path?" "Original? Why do you want to try the original? Don't just play the new version?" Soo-Yang was a little curious about Hawkeye's choice. "Actually, it's all new to me, but I want to try it." "Wait." Before Hawkeye could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Stark. "Boss, I want to ask how many people can read that novel at the same time?" Stark felt so uncomfortable watching others play games and he couldn't, and he suddenly remembered that there was also fiction as a form of entertainment. Stark hurriedly looked for the rest of the people who still had game time. Originally he wanted to find Banner for the first time, but he heard the conversation between Banner and Soo-Yang just now. So he locked his gaze on Hawkeye, and he saw that Soo-Yang had begun to ask Hawkeye and quickly came over to interrupt the conversation between the two. Otherwise, after Hawkeye also entered the game, he would really be bored for 4 hours. There should be no limit to the number of people. Soo-Yang was also not very sure and said, "But why don't you leave yet? Why do you have no time to go online?" Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 072. There should be no limit to the number of people. Soo-Yang was also not very sure and said, "But why don't you leave yet? Why do you have no time to go online?" "Boss, is there really no condition at all?" Black Widow also came over and said unwillingly, "Nope." Soo-Yang was also very resolute on this issue. At this time, Stark on the side seems to have convinced Hawkeye to use his online time to experience the novel world that Stark described to him. "Boss, the world of that novel should not have changed." Stark, who was walking towards the computer, suddenly turned around and asked, "Well, no." This Soo-Yang can answer very affirmatively because he couldn't get by with the game last night and he didn't have time to read the novel. "Wait for me, I want to watch it too. I haven't seen it yet." Mariah also followed in Stark's footsteps. "Boss." Black Widow looked at Soo-Yang with a pitiful gesture, trying to convince Soo-Yang with her charm. "I said no, no, you harass me again. Be careful that I throw you out." Looking at the Black Widow who had been unwilling, Soo-Yang was a little unbearable. "If you can't do it, why are you still so fierce? You don't have a chest." Black Widow pouted, and then she could only follow Stark and them to read the novel. "Phew, now that everyone has finally been arranged, you can take a good rest." After Soo-Yang was excited, he really felt the exhaustion after the all-night. Soo-Yang directly lay on the bar and slept. "Jess, you wait for me." A beautiful woman with a graceful figure is chasing a cute little lolly. "Sisterkin, hurry up, we have limited time to come out this time." Jess looked back at the Phoenix girl with a dissatisfied look and said, "We are going back before the professor finds out, so hurry up." Okay, I see. Looking at Jess's small mouth, the Phoenix girl actually wanted to tell her that this time the two of them came out. Actually the professor knew, knowing that Jess was attacked not long ago, and now it is still New York, which has just ended the danger of alien invasion, and the professor cannot let Jess out of the academy without thorough preparation. There should be no limit to the number of people. Su Yang was also not very sure and said, "But why don't you leave yet? Why do you have no time to go online? There should be no limit to the number of people." Su Yang was also not very sure and said, "But why don't you leave yet? Why do you have no time to go online? Boss, Eileen, who disturbs my dreams." Su Yang, who had slept comfortably, looked at the person who woke him up with an unhappy expression. "I think I know how to change it." Looking at Su Yang, who was angry with the look of anger, Banner said carefully, "Pay first." Although Su Yang was still very unhappy to be woken up, as an internet cafe owner, he could not refuse guests. Banner quickly paid the money, and then opened a machine with Su Yang say, "What do you want to change?" Su Yang asked, after putting on his helmet and entering the game. "I want to test the power of vindictiveness in the world of the Grim Reaper," Banner said behind Su Yang. "It's just that the game character is changed to Zhao Yan, right?" Su Yang quickly changed Kurosaki Ichigo into Zhao Yan's image. "Okay, what else?" "There is also the characteristics I hope to give to virtual zombies." Su Yang, who was wearing a helmet, turned his head to look at Banner in surprise. "You don't want to brush monsters infinitely. The boss is really smart." Then Banner voiced his thoughts. "I think the biggest feature of the game of Grim Reaper is that it can enhance the soul, but because it is a story game, there are too few voids that can be encountered in the early stage. This caused the soul enhancement to be too slow, but I thought that if I gave the void the characteristics of a zombie, then I could completely have an endless void to increase my soul strength. Then the abilities of the characters in League of Legends are too rigid, so in the case of dealing with a large number of voids, do you think it is better to break Zhao Yan in it, right?" Before Banner finished speaking, Su Yang directly said the rest of Banner's words. "Smart. I do think so, but I also have a concern that, if I don't follow the plot, will the game end directly?" Banner said with a frown. "Because if he wants to realize his ideas, his approach in the game must be part of it different from the plot. I don't know this very well. You can try." Su Yang also did not give an answer to come out. "Well, come on, good luck." Su Yang took off his helmet and said, "Although the computer automatically brushes the face to identify the member, but now Su Yang has the full jurisdiction of the internet cafe, so there is still the right to modify this. Banner smoothly took Su Yang's place and entered the game of death. Su Yang stood behind Banner and did not leave, because in fact, he was also curious about whether Banner's idea could be realized. Soon. Banner has been watching the development of the plot. This is it. The plot soon develops to the point where Kurosaki Ichigo meets the scene where the virtual appears in the city in order to protect the little girl, and it is also the first time he meets Rukia. Ding, protect the little girl from the attack of the void. Soon the system gave Banner the plot task, originally here because Banner has not yet become the Grim Reaper, so the system's so-called protection task is actually to let Banner escape with the little girl. But now Banner is not Ichigo Kurosaki, he is now Zhao Yan. It was Zhao Yan who had the ability to fight, so he decisively chose to step forward, to face the void head on instead of following the plot, and choosing to escape. Who is this person? Rukia, who arrived because of the existence of the void, said suspiciously because she actually saw an ordinary person exuding a very strange power, and fighting with the void. What? How is this possible? Rukia exclaimed in disbelief because she saw that the ordinary person may be invincible, and in the process of dodging a virtual attack, she accidentally included another ordinary person in the range of the virtual attack. And that void has always been attracted to Banner, so for other people, the void is actually unintentionally affected, but this unintentional is actually deliberately guided by Banner. Now it's up to me whether my idea succeeds or not. Banner circled with the virtual, while paying close attention to the ordinary people, who were attacked by the virtual. After being attacked, the ordinary man continued to run forward for a while, then began to slowly become weak, and finally fell to the ground. Raw. Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 073. After being attacked, the ordinary man continued to run forward for a while, then began to slowly become weak, and finally fell to the ground. Raw. The ordinary man's whole person suddenly became very painful, and he started to let out a cry that was obviously not human, and finally a strange picture appeared. A mouth suddenly appeared on the top of the man's head, and then that mouth began to gnaw the man's head, and finally it seemed that something suddenly rushed out from the man's half-gnawed head. Eileen, is a zombie void so terrifying? Banner began to worry a little about whether he would not be able to beat what he had made, because it obviously looks more than one grade more powerful than ordinary virtual R. What is this TM? Even Rukia couldn't help but burst into foul language because she had lived for so long and had never seen what was in front of her. Because the face of the thing that rushed out of the man's head did not have a mask, but a face that looked 8 points similar to the man. The reason why it is said 8 points is because everyone knows the soul of this man, so he forcibly gives 8 points, because the face without a mask can be said to be a rotten scene. Eileen, are the zombies of the soul body so terrifying? Even Suyang, who was standing outside the screen, was startled by this look, let alone Banner, who witnessed the process with his own eyes. He was already shocked by this strong picture and wanted to vomit. Raw. However, the zombie void did not care about the humans who fled around him, but directly rushed to the void who was still fighting Banner. I'm leaning, so. Banner originally saw the zombie void rushing over. He wanted to solve the void first and then face the zombie void, but he found that the virtual target of the zombie did not seem to be him, but the essence void that the zombie void conjured. You must know that the characteristics of the void are that there is a void in the chest, which represents the emptiness in their hearts, and in order to make up for the emptiness in their hearts, the void needs to eat the human soul, which itself represents the hunger of the void point. But now it is clear that there is a clear difference between the hunger of the zombie void and the void, and the zombies are, because they only have the instinct to eat, so they will never be full, and they are more pure in eating this soon. The void was defeated by the zombie void, and was swallowed up by the living whole. Hey, what's your name? My name is Rukia. Rukia quickly came to Banner's side and asked point. Originally, her existence as a god of death was actually not allowed to join forces with outsiders, but now she was completely unsure that she could defeat this zombie void. So she also decided to join forces with Banner for the safety of the city. My name is Ichigo Kurosaki. Ban looked at Rukia in surprise. Although this was not his first conversation with Rukia, he had never spoken to Rukia at this stage, let alone the plot characters took the initiative to find him. Do you know what the hell this is? Rukia hopes to get any news about the zombie void from Banner. I don't know very well, but what I know for sure is that you must not be bitten or scratched by him, otherwise you will become like him. Banner thought about it, or decided to reveal some news. Otherwise, if Rukia didn't notice that she was injured by the zombie void, she would also become a zombie. The devil knows how terrifying it will be after the Grim Reaper becomes a zombie. Just this zombie in front of him will drink a pot from Banner. If there is another zombie Grim Reaper, Banner can actually quit the game directly. Raw. The zombie void was not satisfied after eating the void, but turned its head and stared at Rukia and Banner standing together. Damn it. Be careful, remember not to be attacked by him. After Banner saw that the target of the zombie void became them, he took the initiative to rush to the zombie void to attract his attention. After all, he was still worried about Rukia turning into a zombie. Banner wrapped his fist in vindictive ki and punched the zombie void's chest. Bang. Due to the sharpness of his fighting spirit, Banner directly passed through the chest of the zombie void. Rukia, who was in the rear, wisely chose a long-range attack after hearing the information given by Banner. O King's Landing. Masks of flesh and blood, everything that flutters its wings, what bears the name of humanity. Scorched heat and chaos, across the sea against the south, step forward. 31 of the Broken Way, Red Cannon. As the broken chant fell, a ball of fire appeared in Rukia's palm, and the hot flame instantly raised the temperature. Broken Path. Red Artillery. Banner looked back at Rukia whose eyes lit up, and said, "It turns out that this is a broken path, but it doesn't seem to be powerful enough." Sure enough, the red cannon hitting the zombie virtual body not only did not cause substantial damage, but also triggered the characteristics of tank, causing the speed of the zombie virtual to increase another level. It seems that because of laziness, I directly got many attributes of the road to survival. Suyang, who was standing behind, was slightly embarrassed to see that the zombie void had the attribute of tank, but fortunately, no one knows. Eileen, didn't I let the boss only get one characteristic that can be infected? Why is it that even the acceleration characteristics are coming now? Banner, who originally wanted to reflexively continue to attack the zombie void, suddenly thought of something and stopped his body sharply. It can't even be Witch's features. Banner looked at the zombie's hands in fear. If there is, then being touched by those hands should kill directly. Yes, I have to change tactics. Banner also had to avoid close contact with zombies as much as possible. Wait, what is this? Banner, who was dodging the zombie virtual attack, suddenly found that there was something more in his mind, something he couldn't understand at all. Suction palm, Zuan level low level, practice to the great, can suck thousands of pounds of boulders. If you encounter an enemy, fierce suction, can forcibly suck out human beings' blood. Blowing fire palm, Zuan rank low level, can create powerful wind pressure. What is this? Banner, who had been dealing with zombies, suddenly came to his senses. Are these the fighting skills mentioned in WAO? Damn, it's not a matter of running away all the time, especially with the Grim Reaper next to him. Banner turned to look at Rukia, who had been attacking with the red cannon, and was speechless. Because of the plot, Banner strongly suspects that Rukia is actually sent by the system to punish him for the way he changed the plot. Otherwise, it is unreasonable for Rukia to be a god of death, and it is impossible to have no eyesight at all. Try it. Banner stopped the fleeing figure, but instead turned to the zombie void and shouted, "Blow the fire palm." Kneel for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you. Guys, for more free Falu novels, https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 074. Try it. Banner stopped the fleeing figure, but instead turned to the zombie void and shouted, "Blow the fire palm." As Banner's voice fell, Banner's palm suddenly gushed out a strong wind pressure, and the strong wind pressure instantly blew away the zombies that were about to touch Banner. I rely on, is this still just a low-level fighting skill of the Zuan rank? It's also powerful. Banner was shocked by the power of the fire palm. You must know that in the fighting firmament, the level of fighting techniques is divided into 4 levels and 12 levels from high to low: heaven, earth, Zuan, and yellow, and each stage is divided into 3 levels: beginner, intermediate and high. The heaven level is the strongest, and the yellow level is the weakest. Although the Zuanjian low level can't be said to be as bad as the yellow order in the world of Dao Shao, it can't be said to be less. By the way, try this again. Banner stretched out his hand to the zombie that had been blown into the sky by him. Suck the palm. I saw that the debris that had just been blown into the sky due to Banner's fire palm was instantly subjected to a strong suction force and instantly flew towards Banner. Eileen, how can this thing suck everything? Banner saw that it was not the effect he wanted at all and decisively stopped using the suction palm to avoid the debris he had brought back. Watching this scene, Suyang quickly figured out why this situation occurred. It was completely because Banner did not know how to use his fighting key to use fighting skills, therefore, he is completely unable to control the target of his fighting skills, and it is good to blow the fire palm. After all, it is to blow the enemy away, but the palm sucking is different. If you can't control your fighting skills well, you will have a result like Banner just now, and you are completely dealing with yourself. I need to figure it out. Banner frantically fled between the houses to avoid the attack of the zombie void. By the way, since it is a zombie void, then the common weakness of zombies and virtual should also be right. Banner looked back at the decaying face of the zombie. Just knock its head off. Try it. Banner suddenly rushed straight from the roof to the ground. Blow the fire palm. Banner used the powerful wind pressure of the blowing palm and the strong reaction force formed by the ground to make his body take off instantly and avoid the attack of the zombie void. Then there's palm sucking. Banner in the air turned around again and aimed his hand at the zombie void's head point. By relying on the suction force formed by the suction palm, the speed of his approach to the zombie void was raised by a notch, and then the whole person stretched out his fists in front of his body, as if Superman was flying. I saw that it seemed like a light passing through the brain of the zombie void. The zombie void's head exploded directly like snow being hit by a stone. Woo, finally done. Banner, who was still flying in the sky, breathed a sigh of relief, but in the end, it was not in vain. This reward is really cool. Banner found that, after he successfully killed the zombie void, the heat flow that appeared in his body was far greater than the heat flow when he killed the ordinary void. Like the contrast between a small stream and a large river, the heat flow is more than 10 times larger. However, Banner did not continue to follow the plot of the game, but removed his helmet and quit the game. Wow, boss, I just want to know if you did it on purpose? After Banner took off his helmet, he looked at Su Yang with a serious face and said, but the benefits and dangers are directly proportional, aren't you? You also get a lot of benefits. Su Yang looked at Banner and said, this upgrade speed is almost 5 or 6 times faster than the previous ordinary version, and this is still when you are not familiar with the enemy. I think now for you, after knowing how to deal with zombies, your upgrade speed will definitely increase a lot. Su Yang didn't have to worry that Banner would trouble him, because he knew that the benefits far outweighed the dangers. Next, although it can't reach the situation you said of walking around and then being killed by you, but now one top 10 is enough to meet your requirements, then don't bother me, you play slowly by yourself. Su Yang left after speaking, not giving Banner a chance to speak at all. Looking at Su Yang's back, Banner continued to trouble Su Yang and could only turn his head and devote himself to the pleasure of killing the zombie void upgrade point. Happy times are always short-lived. Soon, the otherwise quiet internet cafe was covered in wailing. Ah, how come the time is again? Yes, I obviously feel like we are just starting to play. Let's go. Don't forget the rules here. David looked at the waiting Clark and Barney and said, now that David has been treated for his physical condition, his temperament has slowly begun to change, and the low-key existence of the trio has slowly begun to show his leadership temperament. Boss, let's go first, and come back tomorrow. Su Yang looked at the people leaving, stretched out a lazy waist, took out a bowl of beef noodles, and enjoyed it slowly. Alas, now I really become alone, and I don't know how long it will take for the system to be upgraded. Su Yang complained, while eating beef noodles. As soon as other people's systems come out, there are all kinds of awesome existences. Why does my system actually have this thing to upgrade? Alas, close the door and rest. After eating the beef noodles, Su Yang planned to close the door and sleep. Hey, big brother, why are you doing? It's not dark yet. Why did you start closing? Not doing business anymore? Su Yang listened to Jess's cute voice. Why did you come out? It won't be another person running out. Su Yang then saw a familiar figure appear behind Jess. Why did you let her come to such a dangerous place? Aren't you afraid of accidents? Big brother, don't blame Sister Kin. I'm going to come out to find you. Don't you welcome me? Jess was on the verge of crying as she spoke. No, how could it be? How could I not welcome you? Su Yang suddenly looked at the alley behind the Phoenix woman and thought, it turns out that someone is secretly protecting. I just said how can I let a child come to such a dangerous place? Come in. Su Yang took the two into the internet cafe and then said, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something delicious? Okay, wow, big brother, what did you just eat? It's so fragrant. Jess followed the taste and looked at the beef noodles that Su Yang had just eaten on the bar. That's beef noodles. Su Yang turned his head to look at the Phoenix girl again. Do you want to have a bowl too? Just as Su Yang went to the back door to get beef noodles, the Phoenix woman looked around curiously and asked, Su Yang, is there any difference between your internet cafe here and other internet cafes? The Phoenix woman was curious about this, because when they came just now, she saw many familiar people coming out of the internet cafe. Kneel for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward floor was thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny chapter 075. Just as Su Yang went to get the beef noodles in the back, The Phoenix woman first looked around curiously and asked, "Suyang, is there anything different about the internet cafe here from the internet cafes in other places?" The Phoenix woman was curious about this, because when they came just now, she saw many familiar people coming out of the internet cafe. How? Are you curious? If you are curious, you can experience it. Suyang walked out with 2 bowls of beef noodles. Experience it? Yes. The Phoenix girl said very cheerfully. In fact, she also had a task, to investigate Suyang this time, because when they brought Jess back that day, they also brought the body of the burning man back. And the professor asked about Suyang's situation in detail after seeing the body of the burning man, but at that time, the Phoenix woman did not know much. Only Jess witnessed the whole process with his own eyes. When Jess told the professor the picture of the battle, especially when Jess felt that Suyang was deliberately stimulating the burning man to absorb energy. Although the professor's appearance was very clean, he agreed to let Jess come out again to find Suyang, and told her to contact Suyang before leaving, which made the Phoenix girl much herself more interested in Suyang. If you try the game for the first time, I suggest you play Survival Road. Then Suyang continued, "Let me know in advance that it costs $500 to register a game account, and then the price of surfing the internet is $100 an hour. Is it so expensive?" The Phoenix woman frowned. "You get what you pay for, and the price is expensive means that the game is good and absolutely worth the money." Suyang responded indifferently, "But I don't have that much cash with me." The Phoenix girl showed a bitter smile after touching her pocket, and she did not expect that she would also have a day when she did not have enough money. Suyang touched Jess's head and said, "For Jess's sake, I allow you to owe it first this time." Suyang believes that, as long as the Phoenix woman plays the game, he goes back to Professor X to tell Professor X about the existence and significance of the internet cafe, and there will be many more regular customers in the internet cafe in the future, and he does not have to worry about the Phoenix woman owing money and not paying back. But the Phoenix girl actually didn't want to owe money, but she was very curious about the game in Suyang's internet cafe. So although she hesitated, her body was very honest. After hesitating for a moment, the Phoenix girl sat down. "How do you get that?" The Phoenix girl looked at the helmet curiously and asked. "After you put on the virtual helmet, the computer will automatically swipe the face recognition and automatically register as a member." Under Suyang's patient guidance, the Phoenix girl smoothly got on the machine and clicked on the game point. After clicking start game, she only felt that her eyes were dark, and when she came back to her senses again, she found that she had come to another space. A cold moon hung high in the dark sky. The miserable white moonlight like the skin of a dead man shone on the earth, and the cold wind whistled like a sharp knife. Even the battle-hardened Phoenix woman, when she entered the virtual space of the road to survive, the Phoenix woman still felt terrified. At this moment, Suyang's voice suddenly sounded in the ears of the Phoenix girl. "Then now that the game is officially on, good luck, Miss Jane." As Suyang's voice dissipated, an eerie and terrifying feeling arose. "Where is this? I should be playing games in an internet cafe." The Phoenix girl looked around vigilantly, and the strange and desolate environment made her naturally tense her nerves. Faced with the fear of the unknown, even mutants felt fear. "My power seems to have disappeared." The Phoenix girl soon discovered a clue. The disappearance of the power in the body has raised the sense of crisis of the Phoenix woman to a high level. The Phoenix woman who had lost her strength was now as weak as an ordinary woman. "By the way, I forgot to remind you, now you have lost all your strength and become no different from ordinary people. So when you really can't withstand the pressure, your heart will quit the game by default in 3 sounds." At this moment, Suyang's voice sounded again. "Ordinary people. It's like I'm underestimated." A smile appeared on the Phoenix woman's face. Why is she so calm? Suyang looked at the Phoenix girl walking in the virtual space with a calm face. It was strange, knowing that she was the most relaxed person in the game for the first time so far. Russell. Facing the cold wind and the scattered newspapers and other debris in the wind, the whole street reveals a lifeless atmosphere. Are there other people in this space? After vaguely smelling the hidden smell of blood in the air, the Phoenix goddess frowned solemnly despite losing the power contained in her body. The Phoenix woman's perception did not disappear. Intuition tells the Phoenix woman that a situation is dangerous, but people are curious, so the Phoenix woman instinctively judged the situation. But in the end, driven by curiosity, she still went to the source of the smell of blood. As the smell of blood became stronger, it began to become very pungent in the end. Even he couldn't help but cover his mouth and nose with his hands and held his breath. It seems that there has been a murder here. It seems that the time is not long. Just as the Phoenix girl observed the bloodstains on the ground. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Suddenly, the Phoenix girl's mind faintly sensed some voices. Are there any refugees nearby? The Phoenix woman instinctively felt that it was not a human hunger feeling, but it was indeed a human voice. The random Phoenix girl walked cautiously towards the place she sensed. Huh? Is she hanging on? Why can she find zombies so easily? Su Yang, who was standing behind the computer screen, was puzzled, and Jess was completely attracted by the scenery on the computer screen at this time. She is a little demon herself, so the bloodstains can't scare her at all, but they also bring her some excitement. Soon the Phoenix woman discovered that she sensed the source of the sound. What kind of monsters are these? Is this still human? The Phoenix girl said, looking at the zombies walking scattered across the road. Because this scene is so strange. Have you seen some humans walking on the road with missing arms and legs? What's more, he didn't even have 2 legs, and he only relied on a pair of hands to crawl around on the ground. And the Phoenix girl uses her psychic abilities to read only one of all the information. That is, hunger. It's as if these people are hungry who never get enough to eat. Neil for subscription. Favorite evaluation reward flowers. Thank you guys for more free Falu novels. https://discord.com/invite/z89fj6qny. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.